it's not going anywhere soon. We're not expecting warm enough temperatures to melt the snow we already have, and we're expecting to get even more snow in the future. Of course, you can also see AmFam there in the background for any Brewers fans out there. I hope you were able to go to their clubhouse sale, because that sounded like such a cool opportunity to get some gear this past weekend for a crazy good discount. I believe all the way up to 80% off. Hope you guys went out there and got some gear. I know Delaney said that she was thinking about it, but I don't think she did, because it was a pretty busy weekend. We did have a bike ride on Saturday, which we'll get to in just a little bit. But I guess, Delaney, we should get to some pretty big news that happened yesterday. I feel like I could just quickly talk about it, but I feel like you guys are going to want to talk about it longer, so we will. Taking a live look right here at Lambeau, where, look at that, Delaney, it's snowing currently in Green Bay. Wait, the way the snow is falling right now is so picturesque. Don't you think? It looks like a Hallmark movie.
It looks really pretty.
I'm not usually a fan of snow, but when I look at it and don't have to experience it, that's when I love it. So beautiful shot there at Lambeau, where I know obviously the Packers did beat the Bears yesterday, but I was watching the broadcast and people were very, very cold. I think they said feels like less than 10 degrees, which is crazy. But yes, the Packers did beat my Chicago Bears. It was a 1-touchdown victory. They won 28-21. Hard to watch, because I felt like, it was a great game. If you love football, it was very close. It was a lot of back and forth. One team would score, the other would score. It really came down to the wire on this one. Caleb Williams, unfortunately, let the Packers intercept it in the end zone with about 20 seconds left, which sealed the victory for the Green Bay Packers. So a lot of people very, very happy in the newsroom today. I just keep reminding them that, hey, you know what? We have another chance, us Bears fans, in 2 weeks when y'all play us at Soldier. So at this rate, I kind of am just hoping that we can take it away, split. Hopefully Bears can get a win, the Packers got a win. But if you did join us last Friday, Delaney and I did do a little bit of a bet as to who would win. Well, really just a prediction. But I did say that I thought the Bears were going to win by a touchdown. Delaney said Packers by a touchdown. So also props to Delaney, because she completely nailed that. Obviously, the Packers did win by exactly 1 touchdown. So our very own Jenny Trick has brought in my Packers hat that I'm supposed to wear today. I'll put it on for now. I probably won't wear it for the entire, actually, my head is way too big for that hat. I probably won't wear it for the whole live desk, but a bet is a bet. And so let me rock this. I do want to just shout out Jenny. She at least brought me a really pretty one. There's nice sparkles around it, although I don't know if I'm really good at loosening it. And I don't, wait, I think I did it. Let's see. Did that do anything? Oh yeah, that's a little bit better. So I'll rock this hat right here for a little bit today as we get ready, of course, for, although this is going to ruin, Jenny, I don't think I can wear it that long because I've lost my eyes, Delaney, so we might just have to get your screen grabs here because this might not actually work. But Delaney, I am obviously a woman of my word. How does it look? Is this what you wanted to see?
It looks good.
Yeah, I do. I said, thanks to Jenny for at least giving me a cute Packers hat. I like all the bedazzle right there.
I know.
Yeah.
I like the bedazzle, and it's not like so in your face Packers gear, which
That's
is very
so true.
thoughtful.
Jenny was so in my face Packers gear. She is decked out, and she did a nice little victory song, so that was good.
I wish I could have seen that.
Yeah, it was before you got here. I thought I'd bring up our megaphone, which is not very nice to Bears fans right now, but I do recognize that Wisconsin loves the Packers, and I love Wisconsin, so I'm going to be the bigger person, and we'll see how everyone votes on this one today. It just got posted, so there's no votes yet. We can be the first ones here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, but it is, what do Chicago Bears fans do best? Watch 85 highlights, hype up the next quarterback, tailgating pros, pay their tolls, or loyal no matter what. I would actually argue that we are not tailgating pros. Because you know what, Soldier Field is in the middle of downtown Chicago. You have to park in pretty much the garage that costs a fortune, and then there's a lot of rules about what you can and can't do. So I don't think we are tailgating pros. I definitely think we watch highlights very well. I think that we do constantly hype up the next quarterback, and then we loved Mitch Trubisky until we didn't. We loved Justin Fields until we didn't. I do think we like Caleb Williams. Whoever voted for that one, love that. pay their tolls. I do pay my tolls. I have an iPass that automatically goes Delaney, actually. Loyal no matter what. That's obviously what I'm going to vote for. Delaney, what do you think?
I definitely think you're loyal. I also feel like a lot of the Bears fans hype up the next quarterback.
Yeah. Watch 85 highlights. Oh, did someone just change their vote?
I think someone just changed
I
their
didn't even know you could do that. Oh, they can't decide. Whoever this is, they can't decide between watching 85 highlights and paying their tolls. Yeah, I do feel like that's what I've noticed in my adult years for sure, is the trend of we get really excited about our quarterback and then we don't. I will say, Delaney, what is so painful to me, speaking of quarterbacks, was when we drafted Mitch Trubisky, because we could have drafted Patrick Mahomes, but we went before KC and we chose Mitch Trubisky. Explain that one for me, Delaney.
It happens, but
Yeah.
that's a bummer.
Yeah, big bummer, for sure. For sure. All right. Honestly, okay, we're getting some votes, you guys. I like this. We'll come back to this later on in the show. If you really are a fan of, forget the Chicago Bears, if you're a fan of me, Haley Spittler, vote for Loyal no matter what, because I feel like, I mean, watch 85 highlights is also pretty nice. That's not too bad. So we'll keep our eye on that feed. There are some things popping up here that I want to also keep our eye on. We're still waiting to kind of learn what exactly we're looking at here, but let's pop this up. This is one of our new ELC feeds here. So we'll keep our eye here, see if we can learn a little bit more about this. It looks like this is the First Lady departing. She was at a Toys for Tots event a little bit ago. So yeah, we just learned that this would be First Lady Melania departing the event that she was at. So kind of a fun shot there to catch her on the runway as she heads back to, I would presume, DC, because I believe that event already happened earlier this morning. But if it didn't, we'll keep our eye and see if we can catch some more things going on here on the feeds. We do have a lot of fun things coming up for you. We're going to talk Santa Rampage, of course. Since Delaney and I did both participate and survive, we were a little nervous about the cold temperatures. We got through just fine. We're also going to talk Make-A-Wish, because here at Fox 6 tomorrow we have our telethon where you can help the list of Wisconsinites who are waiting to have their wishes granted. It's an amazing cause. We'll learn all about that, the specifics. Oh, Delaney, this is actually so cool to watch this takeoff. It's like, I didn't realize you didn't need speed, because I mean, I guess it makes sense because it's more of a helicopter there, but
wait, that was really interesting.
I feel like it's like watching a drone, but we're watching an actual like aircraft.
Yeah, it did kind of take off like a drone.
Okay, I'm actually really glad that we put this up, because that was mesmerizing. But yeah, we also gonna have our reporters working on stories, plus there's some cool news coming out of the Golden Globe, so we have a lot to get to here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and of course, we'll be together for the next about 2 hours, and then Ted Perry will take over and get you all the way to 3:30. But for now, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Haley Spittler with you here at 12:43. Before the break, we actually watched the First Lady in, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it was some sort of a really cool helicopter take off after just finishing up her Toys for Tots event at the Marine Corps base Quantico, which is in Virginia. They are now playing back kind of her speech at that Toys for Tots moment. So we are actually going to listen in. Keep in mind, again, this is playing it back, so it's not live, but this is the First Lady at that Toys for Tots event.
Santa's reindeer, Rudolph, Dasher, Comet, all of them, they are resting in the North Pole. They need to save all of their energy for their great flight around the world on Christmas Eve. Santa told me they are snuggled beneath warm, fluffy blankets, sipping candy cane cocoa, feeling the joy and love that will soon be shared with amazing children everywhere. So, with his sleigh parked safely with his reindeer, Santa climbed aboard my Osprey and couldn't.
It looks like we might have lost the feed there of Melania. It looks like this playback just froze. But again, she was
floated through the sky like a.
Okay, we actually might not be back. It froze yet again. But she was presenting a speech again at that Marine base about Toys for Tots, which ironically she was talking about reindeer, which Delaney, I do think could really blend into our next story pretty well, because one of us dressed up as a reindeer this past Saturday. The other one is Santa Claus. Tell us your thoughts on the Santa Cycle Rampage.
I thought it was so much fun. I think I was really worried for the cold, but it ended up not being as bad as I was thinking.
Yes. I remember all last week I was getting very nervous about the temperatures. And then honestly, I just started buying the right things. So I knew I had my base layer, then I had a thermal layer. And then the morning of, I realized that I was wearing a sweatshirt. I was like, I actually don't think I need this underneath my reindeer onesie. But then it did snow the night before, and I go, oh my gosh, are we going to fall? Like, is it going to be super snowy and super icy on the roads?
I know, I was really worried about falling.
Yes, because it was 13 miles. But thankfully the weather really wasn't that bad.
No, we got the sun.
The sun
which
made
a big difference.
Huge difference. And I feel like the roads, for the most part, were cleared pretty well. There was a couple spots that were rough, but you were usually able to avoid them.
It was easy to avoid the rough spots.
I feel like we should probably show a little bit of the Santa Cycle Rampage. So this is us entering Third Ward. You see Trisha, Delaney, myself. Trisha and I are the reindeers. Delaney's the Santa in between us. And Kale, one of our managers, is the one filming that. And then some of our crew ahead of us as well, you could see there. I certainly did not film any clips because you guys, I could barely ride my bike. Delaney, how many times do I feel like at one point I went I went to turn around because I wanted to see how many Santas were behind us and nearly fell.
It was hard.
Yeah.
I mean, we both haven't ridden bikes in kind of a while.
Yeah.
And then we had a hard time biking in a straight line.
We
We kept like veering into each other.
Yes. I have honestly not ridden my bike in 10 to 15 years. For you, it's been 5 years. I showed up to do like live shots for Wake Up, and I sat in it and I was like, oh my gosh, there is no air in these tires. And then I was like, oh yeah, I didn't do that fix. And Carrie, our digital manager, was like, you also need to get your handlebars straightened. I didn't even notice that was a problem. And then my seat was like this, didn't even notice that was a problem. Thankfully, the guys at Wheel and Sprocket got me all good to go, except then we discovered on the road that my bike does not like to go into low gears.
I think that was tough to discover because going uphill then was not easy.
And there was a lot of uphill moments. Okay, I will be honest. I felt a little bit fooled. People kept saying how easy the ride would be. I'm going to pull up another clip that shows you just how many Santas there were. I think this was us heading into Brady Street. But yeah, there was a lot of incline. And obviously when you ride a bike, you want to go into your lowest gear when you're going uphill. And I couldn't do that. The one time I did it, it sounded like my bike was falling apart, Delaney.
I thought your chain had broke.
So then we had to stay in high gear for the rest of the race. But so much fun. I mean, I think it's so funny when Kale zooms in there and you see all the Santas. What other photos do we have, Delaney, from our Santa Cycle Rampage? I'm proud of us, though. We did the 13 miles. Oh, this is a good one. So here's our crew. On the left, that is Carrie's cousin. I think Joe. I think his name was Joe. And then we have Jasmine, who is Kale's wife. Then we have Kale, who is one of our managers here. Delaney in her Santa outfit. Were you Santa or were you Mrs. Claus? What in your mind, what were you?
I guess Mrs. Claus.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mrs. Claus. And then we have Carrie in his Santa outfit, which his Santa outfit was legit.
I loved
so
his
good.
Santa outfit.
It looked
was
so
really
good.
good. And I like that he added the hat onto the helmet.
On top of the helmet. So smart. And then you've got me, and then Trisha's on the very end there as reindeer. What's most impressive, which you can't even see in this photo, Delaney is not wearing sneakers. Delaney is wearing Uggs, which I thought was quite the choice with 13 miles to go. But you were not messing around. You did not want to have your feet cold. So how did it go biking 13 miles in Uggs?
It actually went really well.
Okay.
I felt like they were fine.
I love that for you. I think we should also acknowledge we're not really sure how many miles we biked because we accidentally took a shortcut at the very beginning, but it's not our fault. I mean, genuinely within the first 2 minutes of the race, the police were thankfully there to help guide traffic, and the one police officer was like, this way, so we turned the way he was telling us to go. It turns out we were supposed to continue going straight and then turn around and then eventually go that way. We're not sure how much we cut off, but we accidentally took a shortcut.
We accidentally took a shortcut, but it was okay.
It was okay. I mean, we still biked
It was
a lot.
confusing being directed one way.
I bet you that, because we all started our Apple Watch workouts, I bet you that it tells me how long I did it. Let's see if I pulled my Apple Fitness. I feel like it should tell us how long our bike ride was, because I did track the workout. Oh, 13.28 miles. Oh, we still did plenty of that bike ride then, 13.28. So yeah, I was really proud. I will say this, we're being joined yet again by Jake Newborn in about 40 minutes to talk Santa Cycle Rampage, because we want the numbers. We want to know how many people actually registered for the race, how much money was raised for Wisconsin Bike Fed, the nonprofit that threw this. Plus, I really want to say, or to tell you guys, that if you're watching this and you're jealous right now that Delaney and the FOX6 crew and myself got to do this, you still have the chance to do it this weekend if you're up for a little road trip. So you can do it in Madison next. All right, Delaney, any other photos we have here? Oh, I love this one. Carrie took this selfie. So you can see Delaney, myself, Trisha, and then there's Carrie in his Santa outfit, which now you can see his Santa hat on the helmet even better, Delaney.
I know, that was such a good idea.
Yes. Also, it's so funny to me because Carrie and Kale could take like excellent videos and photos and all this stuff, and I could not. I don't have the video here because I didn't tweet it. But if you were to go to my Instagram, you should watch my Instagram post, because you at one point can hear the sound that my bike made the entire race. And I think we have one more, Delaney. Yeah. Oh, me doing my live shots. Oh, this is fun. So that was after my handlebars got straightened, and then we put a little tinsel on it to make it Christmassy.
I loved that you got to decorate your bike. It was so fun.
Yes. So I went and I did a couple interviews that morning for Wake Up, and I will give all the credit to Kirsten Finn, the executive director of Bike Fed, Wisconsin Bike Fed, because she helped me with this. I'm not really a DIY person, but she suggested that we decorate my bike. So I did the tinsel, but she did the bow, which I feel like probably was the trickier part. But honestly, I'm impressed at us because that stayed on the entire ride.
I know, that was impressive.
So yeah. Also, sometimes I'm like, is that the right height? Like, is this like a child's bike that I rode? Like, I don't know. I think it's time for a new bike if I ever do this again.
I think if you do it again, you need a different bike. But I think that's an adult-sized bike.
It looks really short right there.
It does look small from
Maybe
this
it's the angle. Maybe it's the angle. Yes, anyway, Delaney, how many people do you think rode? Because we're going to get the official answer later on when we talk to Jake Newborn again. Any guesses?
I'm going to guess around 2,000. There
Okay.
was so many people there.
There was so many people there, so we'll definitely have to see what that was.
But then even people like join in from different points
yeah.
of the race. So it's hard to say.
Although Delaney and I did discover what we're going to do next year, which is, I don't know if we can do Santa Cycle Rampage, but we could do the Elf Frenzy, which is the children's ride, which is 3.5 miles.
I think that one's a little bit more our speed.
Yeah, it was very humbling. So Trisha, who is one of our digital girls, who sometimes is back with Delaney during Wisconsin Live Desk, her husband dropped her off and picked her up. And when he was getting her at the end, was like, "Yeah, I saw you guys at the last incline. Looked like y'all were struggling." And I was like, "That is so humbling."
I think that was when we were walking our bikes up the hill, so a little embarrassing.
Honestly, though, I think it's worse. I think the last one we didn't walk, so it was like even more. Like, it would have been better just to walk it up.
Probably.
As a reminder, though, I was doing it in high gear, and so I just feel like it would have been better if my bike worked.
Yeah, if your bike was able to shift into a lower gear, I think it would have been easier, but that last hill was hard.
They all were hard.
They were all hard, but that one especially.
Oh my gosh. And the bridge. The bridge, Delaney and I just got off our bikes and we walked them.
The bridge was
Thank
really
you for
hard.
walking with me because I couldn't do it, Delaney. I could not do it.
No, that was hard.
That was hard.
Harder than I was thinking, but it was fun. I
Yeah.
was definitely not prepared for all the incline.
No, I was not prepared at all. But next year I will be because we're already talking about doing it again. Carrie really wants us to do it again, so we'll see.
We'll have to see.
We have a year to recover.
That's true.
All right, let's take another live look at Green Bay because the snow is really starting to come down, Delaney. Look at it now.
Oh, wow. That looks so beautiful, though.
It looks stunning. I do feel like it's probably better that it's snowing today and not yesterday because I watched the Bengals-Bills game before the Packers-Bears, and it was hardcore snowing in Buffalo, New York, and I just thought, like, that cannot be fun. It was freezing yesterday in Green Bay, but at least it wasn't snowing during the game. Of course, we already mentioned it. Congratulations to the Green Bay Packers. They did win the game, 28-21. Yes, Delaney?
I think we need to see one more view of you in the hat.
We'll put it back on. I just get raccoon eyes because the lights are really going to... Okay, wait, honestly. Here we go, guys. We're pulling it up yet again. This is what Delaney wants to see. I just don't think these are my colors.
Yellow is a hard color to look at in.
I think that for blondes, yellow does not work. I think when you're brunette, yellow looks good. But I will argue these are the same colors as the Baylor Bears, where my brother went. So I do like yellow and green when it's the Sikkim Bears. But for today, it's your Green Bay Packers.
Well, thank you for putting it on one more time.
Of course. Are you excited to wear the Chicago Bears hat in 2 weeks?
We'll see. We might have a repeat of this.
Yeah, what do we do? Do I have to wear like a jersey next time? What do we do next time if the Packers win yet again?
I know, I think maybe then we have to do a jersey.
Okay, well, I'm sure Jenny has plenty of those, our Packers queen. Let's pull up our megaphone again as well. We were asking you, what do Chicago Bears fans do best? Watch 85 highlights, hype up the next quarterback, tailgating pros, pay their tolls. I love that one. Loyal and no matter what. You guys are liking watch 85 highlights and hype up the next quarterback, which I do think we do both of those well. I voted loyal no matter what. And I think someone else voted for that. So thank you guys, because that went up since the last time we saw this, Delaney. I like that one.
I do like that one.
It's a good one. All right, before we take another break, I want to take us back to this, which is, again, being refed. So this already happened, but you can see, of course, the First Lady there, Melania Trump, at this Tots for, or Toys for Tots event. And you can see lots of donations going in those boxes, making sure that all the kiddos are able to have Christmas presents this season, which, again, Christmas is right around the corner. I still have some more shopping to do for my family members, but we are now under 3 weeks. We're just like 2.5 weeks away from Christmas, which is crazy. But it's because Thanksgiving was so late that I feel like Christmas is really sneaking up on us. But again, this was at Quantico, the Marine base there in Virginia. It's the First Lady picking up one of the kiddos. Oh, Santa was there, Delaney.
How fun.
That is fun. And I love that they're helping, with the donations, filling up those boxes right there. 'Tis the season. So we'll head to break, taking another look at Green Bay, where the snow is really coming down. So beautiful to look at. Probably not as beautiful to be experiencing, but we're watching it through a camera, so we'll take it. All right, you guys, we'll be right back after this.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is 1:01 p.m. on your Monday afternoon. I'm Haley Spittler, and I'll be with you here until 2:30. Then Ted Perry's taking over, and he'll get you all the way to 3:30. We are keeping our eye right here on the White House. Of course, we are expecting to hear from President Trump, who is going to participate in a roundtable discussion that was slated for 1 p.m. So I would guess at any moment now that will start, and of course, we'll bring that to you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. It does sound like he will potentially be discussing a $12 billion farm aid package, which was set to hopefully kind of offset some of the tariff costs for farmers. That announcement was broken, or the news broke earlier this morning. So we'll have to check and see if that's exactly what he discusses on the roundtable. Again, as soon as it begins here, we will bring it to you on the Wisconsin Live Desk. The other news we wanted to remind you about, because we know a lot of you guys are actually very excited for this, is the holiday train. It is returning this week. It actually comes to Wisconsin tomorrow. It will be at Sturtevant and Caledonia. Wednesday, it will be at Wauwatosa. Musical performances for those three stops will be the American Authors and Pinkbeard, which Best Day of My Life is a very popular song by American Authors that I know Delaney and I originally were thinking we didn't know their music, and then we both realized we totally know that song. That was like the song of the year, I would argue, when it came out.
I agree with that. It was a really popular song when it came out.
Yeah, so if you want to go hear that performed live and for free, you can go to any three of those stops. If you've never seen the holiday train before, which I am in that boat, or maybe I should say I'm in that train car. Dun, 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 dun. That was a good one, Delaney. Don't act like that wasn't good. That was good. She's kind of laughing.
It wasn't your best, but I'll give it to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. They come into town, they kind of open the side of a train car, they do their performance, then they go on to the next city, and you are also invited to bring some donations. They are collecting different items for different charities depending on which stop you go to. But Delaney, do you want to break the news? Because we've got a pretty cool guest tomorrow, and you were actually the integral one in booking this. So I think it's all up to you to tell us about it.
I'm excited. We're going to have somebody from the train actually zoom in and join us as it heads to Wisconsin.
As the train is going on its way to Wauwatosa, it's going to stop in, and we are going to get to, or they're going to zoom in, and we're going to get to see it.
I know, I'm excited.
I'm really excited. You know what else people are really excited for? This announcement. That is Barista, the viral cup. We all heard about it a month ago. One of us was lucky enough to actually get it. Me. But we are being told that Barista is sort of being restocked today. And I want to clarify why I'm saying sort of. It does not sound like you are going to be able to go into the stores and buy Barista. Originally, people were saying you could buy it through the app only. But it sounds like actually you could only win Barista if you participate in their kind of holiday game that they do every year, which is actually one of my favorite things to do this time of season. Delaney, do you ever get into the holiday games with Starbucks?
I have not.
What? You never played? It's like Starbucks for life is what I think it's called. But you get like a free roll each day. You can do different challenges to get more free rolls. Or every time you buy coffee, you get another roll. But you like have to usually get 3 things in a category, and then you can get free prizes. The easiest is sometimes you just get free stars, because stars then go towards free drinks as well. So it sounds like Barista is going to be one of those prizes, which I would argue is a great prize.
That is a really good prize.
Because that cup costs $30, but the resale value was great.
The resale is crazy.
But yeah, I have a Barista cup. I've shown it off here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. I actually think it's great quality. I mean, it is made out of glass. It's not plastic, and it's adorable. You can't tell me that's not the cutest thing you've ever seen, Delaney.
It is such a cute cup.
So, yeah, we'll have to see when that will appear on the Starbucks app. I was slightly disappointed because I did tell... Oh, a little blurry right there. I did tell some of my friends that were sad they didn't get the Barista cup. I was like, oh, it's coming back today. And then I had to tell her, like, oh, just kidding. It does not seem like it's coming back today because you have to participate in the game. But I haven't seen the game pop up yet on my app. Normally it's really easy. It says, like, play Starbucks for life. So here we go. Starbucks posted about it 2 hours ago on their website. Let's read it together. Starbucks for Life returns nearly 10 million prizes await, including the viral glass Starbucks Barista Cold Cup. Okay, so you can definitely win that. Let's see what it says. From December 8th through January 4th. Okay, so maybe my app needs a little refresh because I'm not seeing the ability to play yet. But I am excited. That's always really fun. I think it's a genius marketing plan, Delaney, because I end up going to Starbucks a lot more this time of year. I was going to owe you Starbucks for winning the bet, but y'all changed it to me wearing the Packers hat.
I thought we were doing both.
I don't remember it being both. I don't. I remember it being that suddenly I was going to wear this. So if you want, I'll put it on again.
Thank you.
So we can get lots of... I would wear it the whole time, you guys, but again, the eyes are doing some fun things. Yeah. I can't wait to see Delaney in the Bears one in a couple of weeks. It's going to look really good.
We'll see. I think you'll be in some different Packers gear.
Yeah.
Jenny suggested a Packers onesie.
Okay, Jenny, I need you to come down here and sit in this office. It is, I lovingly call it the Wisconsin Live Desk sauna. So if you think I can survive in a onesie, I cannot. And that's not just me saying because it's Packers. If you want me to take a picture in a onesie, fine. I cannot wear it. Delaney, I would be sweating profusely.
It does get kind of toasty.
Yeah.
I think I have a jersey, though.
I
so
also would
we
just
can
like to
make
remind
that
you
one
guys,
work.
the one noise the computer was making at the beginning of this newscast, there's no way I can add more to this room. That thing created an extra heat as well, Delaney.
I think it did.
Yeah, I know it did. I know it did. All right, I think, Delaney, we should be safe and we should take another commercial break now so that when Trump starts his round table, we're ready to go.
Sounds like a good plan.
You like it?
Let's do it.
All right, you send us to break.
We'll be back after this short break.
Look, I think this is the last time I'm wearing it, so really soak it in, you guys. Should I say go, Pack, go? Go, Pack, go.
Is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk this Monday afternoon. Time check for you, it is 1:11 and 25 degrees out right here in Milwaukee. We're going to take another live look in D.C. at the White House because we did just learn that roundtable discussion with President Trump is running about 30 minutes behind what media members have been told, which should mean it should start here around 1:30. So we do have a couple things scheduled around that time for the Wisconsin Live Desk, but we'll certainly pop in and out of that roundtable as soon as it starts and as soon as it's on a feed here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll bring that to you. We've also been dipping into this kind of refeed, which means it's not live. It already happened. But this was the First Lady at Quantico attending a Toys for Tots event, and I did just learn some information. First of all, she arrived arm in arm with Santa, who you can also see in that camera shot right there, meeting with different children and military members at the Marine Corps base. She told children that Santa's reindeer were resting at the North Pole. We actually heard her talking about different reindeer, and we listened in a little bit while he joined her aboard a V-22 Osprey aircraft. So, you know, with the Wisconsin Live Desk, I don't always have the answers immediately, but I will always get them for you because we were watching that aircraft as it took off in real time. We watched live her leave Virginia, but like I said, it was the coolest thing. It looked like a big version of a drone, the way it took off. So we've learned that's a V-22 Osprey aircraft, which the First Lady said, Santa told me that it floated through the air like a giant snowflake, but was faster than a sleigh could ever fly. So that's kind of cool. Delaney, we saw some different versions of sleighs Saturday at the Santa Cycle Rampage. What was like your favorite Delaney costume that you saw?
I like the person who dressed up as the Grinch, and they had the dog
Max.
in there behind them. It was so cute. And then this other Santa had built like a sleigh around his bike, so it looked like he was actually riding a sleigh.
That was a cool one. Max, which was on the back of the Grinch, unfortunately fell off. And so we were like, oh no, Max is down. But I think he eventually fixed that.
I think it got fixed, but he did fall off pretty quick into the start.
Yeah, like I would say like between mile 1 and 2.
I think so.
Which also I learned that I have no perception of like distance when it comes to bike, which is funny because I have run 3 half marathons. So like I understand what 13.1 is, but you put me on a bike and I have no idea. Like I thought we were halfway done when we were 2 miles in.
There was a lot of times I thought we were way further than we ended up being.
I will say, I think my favorite, it wasn't a costume, but that man who was riding, it was one of those big wheel bikes that has just a small little wheel behind it. It was not a trike. Like, it wasn't like it had 2 wheels in the back, like I know some of them do. It was a true bicycle where he was up super tall, and I thought, do you have brakes on that thing? Like, I was so impressed with him riding that.
That was so impressive.
Like, how does he get up the inclines? And should I be embarrassed that I couldn't do it and that man could do it in that bike?
Maybe it's something that he's done before, so it's probably a little bit easier.
You definitely have to be a pro if you are going to be riding that thing.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about Santa Rampage Cycle here. Santa Cycle Rampage in 15 minutes. Should we talk about a really unique release that's happening today?
Let's do it.
Yeah, you know, the world's all about collabs these days. And sometimes a collaboration comes that you question a little bit. You wonder, that's how I'm kind of feeling about this one. That's Shay Mitchell, who you might remember from like You or Pretty Little Liars. She's an actress, but she's also one of the co-founders of Base, which is a suitcase, like luggage company. And today, their collaboration with Chipotle releases. So they have a suitcase that looks the same color as like the Chipotle tinfoil wrapping. They also made a purse that looks like the Chipotle like brown bag that your order comes in. I'm pretty sure they legit have a burrito holder, which Shay is holding. They have a keychain that looks like guacamole. What are your thoughts, Delaney, on this collaboration with Base?
When you first told me about it, I had no idea how they would make it work, but I do like it. I like the tan suitcase the most, I think.
Yeah.
But I do think it's really cute. I wasn't expecting it to be.
They do have a cute keychain that says burrito on board, which is obviously a play of baby on board. So I think that's kind of cute. It's officially out. And right now it looks like everything is still available. So if you are like the world's biggest Chipotle fan, go grab it. The guac cup, it's a guac cup charm is what they're calling that. I wanted to see if it, like, they really do have a thing that legit is supposed to hold your burrito. Oh, here it is. It's the base by Chipotle, the burrito crossbody, which the way they're advertising it is holding a real burrito. It is $48 if you would like to hold your burrito in a crossbody. Delaney, do you need an accessory for your burrito? She's thinking
I might
about
have
it.
to get one now.
Are you being for real?
No.
Oh, I was like, you're going to pay $48 to put your burrito in a purse?
No, that's crazy.
I do like base. I did just buy a suitcase on Black Friday. I don't need this collab. I think it's very fun. So if you are a Chipotle fan, you can go and you can grab it, which really begs the question, is Steph a Chipotle fan? We need to know, what's your go-to? Do you like Chipotle?
I do.
Do you need the burrito bag?
No, because I go bowl.
Same.
Bowl.
You got to go bowl. I think you get more, and
Agreed.
I also split it into 2 meals that way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I do feel like cold weather is a good time to get Chipotle, and we're certainly still experiencing that.
We have so much going on. I felt like I've said that phrase for since Thanksgiving, we can just say. But guess what? We have so much going on this week again, between more snow, maybe some wintry mix, which is a sign that we do have a brief warm up, not in a good way though, and then an even bigger drop in temperatures towards next weekend. So yeah, if you have anything next weekend, which I mean, it's a prime December weekend, I'm sure we all do, it is going to be brutally cold. We may even be inching our way towards our first cold weather advisory for Saturday morning. So we'll see. But again, we have, before we get to the cold, Haley, a couple of different systems we have to talk about. We have a 1-2 punch of snow chances here, one tonight, one by tomorrow evening, lasting on into Wednesday. So that first system right now is out towards the west. You can see some snow out ahead of that low pressure system across the Dakotas and far western Minnesota. So we will see that overnight tonight. It's going to be in and out very quickly. Minimal impacts, I think, up to an inch of accumulation by the time we wake up tomorrow morning, but I do think most spots will stay below that 1 inch mark. That being said, we will still need to clear at least snow off of our cars tomorrow morning, and we may still encounter some slippery stretches at times during the commute. Round 2 is just up towards the northwest. So these are 2 Alberta clipper systems, meaning they develop in Alberta, Canada, and then work their way pretty quickly towards the southeast. So they're in and out very quick. They oftentimes bring in some colder air, although that second Alberta is actually going to bring in some slightly warmer air. Regardless, that's a second storm system that we see later Tuesday evening on into Wednesday. So we have a lot going on even just the next 2 days. Now, out ahead of that second system, because remember, the first system is pretty weak. It's not going to bring a ton of snowfall to the state of Wisconsin. Different story for the second one. You can see spots from North Dakota into Minnesota, and yes, northern and central Wisconsin already under winter storm watches. So there is the chance for some of, we'll say, the northern half of the state of Wisconsin to pick up over 6 inches of snow. So that second storm, again, Tuesday and Wednesday, is going to be a bit more substantial. Those of us down towards the south, though, so our viewing area here in Milwaukee, we're not included in anything just yet, but that watch is just up towards the north. I think we need to watch the storm track very closely for this very messy storm system late Tuesday into Wednesday. It is showing signs of shifting southward, and if that's the case, that would push the rain and wintry mix down towards the south a little bit more, and potentially some of this heavier and higher snowfall rates towards the south as well. So I do think at the very least we'll see some winter weather advisories for our area, but if we keep seeing the trend of this southerly shift, we may end up having that winter storm watch down towards the south a little bit more, at least into Fond du Lac and Sheboygan County. So, you know, even though some spots are going to see a period of rain, especially Milwaukee and south, Tuesday evening and into the overnight, with cold air eventually working its way in Wednesday, it will all change over to snow still. So despite a rain chance, and that could be icy, late Tuesday, we will all end up seeing at least some snow throughout the day on Wednesday. So this is, you know, kind of that bigger storm system for late Tuesday into Wednesday. We just get that break in the action between Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon. So the snow tonight and then the snow late in the day tomorrow, along with some of that wintry mix. And then behind it, as we talked about, again, we have that colder air that starts to work its way in as soon as Thursday and Friday, but especially over the weekend. In the near term, though, I would say just plan ahead for some pretty big weather impacts. Tuesday evening commute all the way to Wednesday morning commute, because it'll really be during that time frame that we see some of the wintry mix changing over to snow and accumulation certainly by the time we wake up Wednesday. Plus, snow will actively still be falling throughout likely the first half of Wednesday. So not really concerned too much with tonight's system. It really is everything that we see going along with a warmer temperature with that second storm system. It's going to get a little messy here in southeast Wisconsin.
I was going to say, Steph, we did find some snow here in Green Bay right now.
Beautiful.
Which really, I'm just playing this up because I wanted to say congratulations. You guys won the game yesterday.
What's the score? I forget.
It was 28-21. So technically Delaney won our bet because she said they would win by 1 touchdown. So I don't know if you've been watching, Stephanie, but this was my punishment that Jenny Schrick decided on.
Oh.
I've been having to rock this hat
Wow.
during the Wisconsin Live Desk, which she at least gave me one that had the sparkles.
I don't know if this will help or hurt, but you do look better in orange.
That hurt
I'm sorry.
because I will be going right back to
I'm sorry.
my blue and orange. We're just gonna win in 2 weeks is what my new thing is.
There you go. You get around 2.
Yes.
You know?
We'll be in
That's not too far from
Chicago.
now.
We'll try our best, but I'm sure we'll be checking in with you guys a lot this week because there is a lot going on in the forecast.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, and we are still putting stuff together for this Tuesday, Wednesday storm, so just stay tuned. You know, I think even this afternoon I'll start working on our snowfall map. It's always hard because you want to get through the first system and then focus on the second system, but they're coming so quickly
Right.
that I think we will definitely have a snow map for later tonight. I do think for Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, maybe like a 2 to 4, 3 to 5 in some of our northern communities. So again, that's another chance at snowfall. So yeah,
Right.
just stay tuned for the latest there. We'll
And
keep you updated.
It does kind of sound like it's one of those weeks that if it does, and yes, I took the hat off. If it does snow, we should really try and shovel quickly because with the cold
Yes.
temperatures, it could become ice.
Yeah, that is a really good point too, because we drop right back below freezing
Right.
later Wednesday night. So really, the second that snow stops midday, if you're able to get it all cleared, and then just stock up on the salt because
Right.
it's again not going to melt through the weekend.
Absolutely. All right, lots of good tips there. We will check in with you, I'm sure, again later this week. But thanks for joining us right here on the Wisconsin Live
course.
Desk. Congratulations again on the Green Bay Packers. See, at least I'm a big enough person to say congratulations. I'm not just going to hide the fact that the Bears lost yesterday. But speaking of the roads, and this is actually a very serious situation, please take it careful this week. This was an accident that happened earlier this morning that could have been so bad. You take a look at that black car, which is actually like on the edge of this highway ramp. So if that car had gone over, that had the potential to be a very deadly situation. Thankfully, it was able to stop. But this is why we need to take it very slow on the roads because there is the snow, there is the ice. It is just a situation here in Wisconsin, especially when you have some of those highways that go, 2 on top of each other, 3 on top of each other. It's a story that our very own Andrew Amuzu is working on today because, we talk about how the snow can be pretty to look at or how it can be a little bit of a headache, but if you are not taking it slow enough on the road, it can become very dangerous. We saw a number of accidents last week, several different mornings while dealing with that snow and sleet and ice, and this is when we saw this morning when there wasn't really any snow falling. So please take it careful on the roads out there. I'll just give you another live look here in downtown Milwaukee right now, where you can see lots of cars are on the various highways right there. But thankfully, no snow falling right now. As Steph just said, though, that is going to change. We've got snow in a couple different spots of the forecast, and we've got some very cold temperatures. So make sure you are bundling up this week, as well as just taking it slow on the road. I cannot emphasize that enough. This is the kind of week where if you need to build it into your commute to leave early so that you have the time to be going at the speed you should, and not pushing it and not getting into any sort of a car crash. Because again, the one from this morning could have been so much worse, and I'm glad to see the car was able to at least stop and did not fall over that highway ramp, because that could be a very different story that we're reporting on today. All right, we are going to take another quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Coming up, we're talking to Santa Cycle Rampage, and again, in the next few minutes, we should also be hearing from President Trump, who will be talking at a roundtable. So we'll bring you both those things on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Stay with us.
Live Desk.
Hey you guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Haley Spittler with you here this Monday afternoon, where we are just about at 1:30, which means I've got another hour with you guys here on Wild, which is what we like to call the Wisconsin Live Desk. And then Ted Perry's taking over at 2:30, and he'll get you all the way to 3:30. Well, Delaney and I were already talking about it a little bit during this show, but of course the Santa Cycle Rampage was on Saturday. Delaney and I partook. We had a very fun time. So we want to go ahead and bring in Jake Newborn with Wisconsin Bike Fed to get some of the official stats. Jake, did I hear biggest ride ever?
Yes, you did. You heard that right. And it's all thanks to you for being a part of it. So 1,900 official registered riders this year.
That is, I mean, so exciting. Obviously, all the money goes towards Wisconsin Bike Fed. So talk about what a difference it's going to mean having that many riders partake.
Yeah, it's a huge, huge for us as a fundraiser to support our youth serving work, our work to get kids on bikes, repair bikes for free, teach them bike safety, and just encourage, families to get out and ride more year round as well. So this was a huge success. It's a very successful event for us. And thank you to everyone for registering, and to you and your team for coming out, Haley.
Oh, of course. This is some footage of our team right now doing the bike ride. We truly had the best time, but I'm curious, what was some of the feedback you got from other riders?
Everyone always says it's the best time. We always get a few Grinches who, something went wrong, and it's obviously challenging to, put on an event of this size with so many moving parts, literally, and have everything go smoothly. But overall, we're very happy with it. We are always looking at ways to improve for next year, and how we can, make that a more fun, safe, accessible for everyone.
Yeah, we're watching this clip that my coworker Kale took where he zooms in. This was, I think, at Brady Street. And that's when you see all of the Santas. Because when you're in the ride, it doesn't always hit you how many of you there are. And then a moment like that where you just see so many people, it is the best sight. It is so, funny. But also, Jake, I felt like the weather really cooperated well for this ride. I was worried it was going to be too cold, but it was sunny. The weather, there wasn't too icy. How did you guys feel like it went?
Yeah, when it's sunny and it's cool but not, frigid, great weather, no problems there. I want to thank you, to the DPW team for keeping the roads, safe and clear for all of us riders. That was really wonderful. And to the police department for keeping us, as safe as they can out there. I know there's always, again, there's people everywhere. There's cars that maybe weren't aware that this was going to be happening, and so there's some traffic issues, but I appreciate everyone kind of being patient and working through it together.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there might be some people watching right now thinking, dang it, that looks like so much fun. I missed out on the opportunity, but technically they didn't, because if they wanted to drive to Madison, they could do their own Santa Cycle Rampage. Tell us about that opportunity.
Yeah, so we've got Madison's on Saturday. I know you were all just talking about the weather. We are watching that very closely. It's going to be very frigid there. And of course, the snow and ice coming this week. So we're keeping a very close eye on that. We still do plan to ride. If we've got to adjust the route or, shorten it or do anything else, we're keeping an eye closely on that. But, if that's too much for you, I get it. It's going to be cold. Always put it on your calendar. The first Saturday in December next year, we'll be rolling back in Milwaukee, December 5th, 2026.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just looking at the email that I got that says save the date, December 5th, 2026. So Delaney and I will go ahead and put that on our calendar. We'll have to start thinking what our costume will be next year, which I have to ask, what was your favorite costume you saw out there?
Oh, man. You can't make me pick one because I think there's so many super fun, creative ones. And there's people that I start to see every year. There's like Poinsettia lady who really has the big headdress on, and she's done it every year. I love when people, they kind of add a sled or a sleigh to the back of their bike and
Yes.
They got presents or their kid in there. I just love when people are incorporating, the bicycle or the cargo aspect and really kind of making it look like a sleigh and bringing along their children on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say the other thing I very quickly noticed when I was out there Saturday is the sense of community. Even before the race started, everyone was so friendly. I was having a chat with a lady who was telling me I was going to get addicted to bike riding because she had just started a few months ago and she loves doing it. I feel like this really is a great place if you're looking for a sense of community, is to do these types of events and to participate more in the events that Wisconsin Bike Fed does. Because I should mention, it's more than just Santa Cycle Rampage, right?
Yeah, we do more than just this ride. It's just one of many, but we have rides and events and classes and education things all year round. In the spring, we have what we call Bike Week, the first week of June, where that's, again, a great time to kind of meet people, get some free coffee, do sorts of rides and events. So follow us on social media, check out our website, wisconsinbikefed.org, and get involved, and there's plenty of great things to do.
Yes, absolutely. I think this was such a fun time. Here's my actual goal for next year, Jake. This is a photo of Carrie, one of our digital managers, taking a selfie with Delaney, Trisha, and myself in the background. I couldn't do this. I need to become a better bike rider. I realized that my hands needed to really be on both handlebars. So next year, maybe I'll be good enough to pick up my phone and do a selfie or two.
Hey, just stay safe. Go within your comfort level, within your skill level. That's all we want. And we've got, photographers out there who can take care of that for you.
That's right. That's an excellent point. There were other people along the way grabbing our photos. So it was okay that I couldn't manage the balance just yet. Maybe next year. But thanks so much for joining us again on the Wisconsin Live Desk and for hosting such a fun event for our city last weekend.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And we'll see everyone out on the streets.
That's right. Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Jake.
Always
a fun time getting to talk Santa Cycle Rampage. I know Delaney and I had a very fun time this past weekend getting to participate in that with some of our coworkers. Hey, that roundtable we were talking about earlier has started, so I want to take us out there. You can see President Trump there is speaking, so let's listen in and see what he's talking about.
Joe Biden, he's a sleepy guy. Our farmers were crushed by the worst inflation in modern history and crippling restrictions on energy, water, and countless other necessities for farmers, and what they did to the farmer in terms of putting the brakes on was just absolutely unacceptable. In my first term, we had an agricultural trade surplus by a lot. We had a big surplus, meaning that we were exporting American agricultural products all over the world, making a net profit, and in many cases a very substantial profit. He came in and ruined it. Biden turned that surplus into a gaping agricultural deficit that continues to this day, but we're knocking it down. It's starting to go very good. In fact, China, as you know, is buying a tremendous amount of soybeans, and the number, I spoke with President Xi recently, very recently, and I think he's going to do even more than he promised to do. So I think the relationship is a very good one. I think he's going to do more than he promised to do, and what he promised to do is a lot. So we're very happy with that. In the last year, Biden bankruptcies rose by 55%, having to do with farms. So farm bankruptcies under Joe Biden went up 55%. That's not good. But now we're once again in a position where a president is able to put farmers first. But unfortunately, I'm the only president that does that. On day one, I terminated the Green New Scam. Energy prices are down. Gasoline prices are down. We've slashed record numbers of crippling regulations, and we're working on huge trade deals already, securing $60 billion in agricultural purchase commitments. And you know, Biden made none. He didn't make any trade deals having to do with the farmers or any of it. It's crazy. China committed. He was the worst president in the history of our country, by the way, in case anybody has any questions. China committed to over $40 billion of soybean purchases, and that's a commitment. And I asked President Xi if he could even up it. And I think he'll do that. I mean, not a commitment. 40 billion is a commitment, but the soybean farmers are quite happy. Since my successful meeting in South Korea with President Xi, purchases have been made and soybeans are being exported out of the United States to China as we speak. And I say that our soybeans, I told this to President Xi, our soybeans are more nutritious than competitors. Somebody said, is that a Trump statement or is that real? In fact, you know who asked me that question? President Xi asked me that question. He said, really, I had never heard of it. And he was a food purchaser for a long time. But that's what I hear. And Japan agreed to $8 billion in purchases of corn, soybeans, ethanol, fertilizer, aviation, biofuel, and rice. You know, Japan never bought rice from anybody else. It's like a very important thing to them. And they agreed to buy rice, okay?
Absolutely.
So I also proudly signed into law the largest tax cuts in history, and the one big, beautiful bill, the monumental tax relief bill that is benefiting very, very strongly, benefiting the American farmer. And I think also for farmers, we have, as you know, and we got this, the estate tax, or the death tax, as they call it, on farmers, on small businesses. You don't have to pay it anymore. A lot of farms, you love your children, and your children are great, and they want to be farmers, and you leave the farm with your children, and a lot of farms are, you know, sort of cash poor, land-rich cash poor, and the kids would go to the local bank or to any bank, and they'd borrow money to pay the estate tax, and they'd end up losing the farm. They go bankrupt, and a lot of death too. You know, literally, because they love their farm and they love their business and they love that way of life, they end up committing suicide. A lot of suicides. We have no more estate tax. How about that? Do you have children?
I do.
Well, let them know. Now, if you love your children, then it's good. If you don't love your children, you don't have to leave them anything. It doesn't matter what I just said.
They're still young. I still
love
them.
I have a feeling you love your children.
I still love them.
I have a feeling you love your children. But the estate tax is a very big thing, so you don't have estate tax. You die, you leave your farm or whatever, or small business to your children, you don't have to pay estate tax. It seems to affect the farmer more than anybody else, because you can have a farm that's very valuable, and therefore you have to pay a big tax, but it's not a big value in terms of cash. Maximizing domestic farm production is a big part of how we will make America affordable again and bring down grocery prices for American families. And again, these are prices that we inherited. When I left, we were doing incredible. In 4 years, what they've done to this country and so many, and not even mentioning the border and the criminals allowed into our country and all of the other. So I just want to say it's a tremendous honor being with you. I'd now like to ask Secretary Rollins to provide some of the details, followed by Secretary Bessent, Director of the National Economic Council, Kevin Hassett, Senator Bozeman, Representative Scott, and then we go to a couple of the farmers' representatives, but we'll all get involved a little bit. You can speak. Anybody is shy to speak in front of the press, and I don't blame you if that's the case, but farmers, Court Hollop and Merrill Kennedy will say a few words also, and then we'll have a little discussion, okay? Madam Secretary.
Thank you to the greatest boss in the world for a long time now. It's just an honor to be here. I'm going to keep my comments very short because I really want to make sure that you and the world gets to hear from our farmers. So a couple of quick points. Number one, this country and our farm economy is facing a crisis that we inherited that most of these farmers have not seen in their lifetime. Profitability is down. It's just one crisis after another. When we came into office, sir, when you did and you were sworn in on January the 20th, as you mentioned, not one new trade deal had been struck in 4 years. The cost of inputs for our farmers, fertilizer up 36%, manual labor up 47%, interest rates up 73%. When you combine the cost of inputs for our farmers married to no new trade deals, and then you're facing an administration whose priorities were DEI, climate change, putting the farmer aside. I mean, it was an absolute war on agriculture and on our rural communities. That all changed on January 20th. So as, sir, we are working, and you have been just so resolute. I mean, these are our people. Rural America is the fabric of our country. This is the way of life that preserves the American dream for the next 250 years as we celebrate the first 250 years. So we began to go to work immediately. What these elected officials sitting across from us did with the One Big Beautiful Bill, with a lot of help and direction from you, was the largest investment in rural America in any of our lifetimes. We will begin to see that effectuated next year in 2026. As we have fought to bring input costs down, you have talked about, and even this weekend did an executive order, signed one, on looking into the reason that so much of these costs have been driven up over and over. Equipment, again, fertilizer, seed, et cetera, et cetera. We have to make sure we understand why that is. And then the continuing of the additional trade deals across the world. And no longer will America be held and beholden to the regime of other countries' tariff infrastructure. Instead, we are moving our products out across the world. Having said that, and we have been listening to the farmers for the last 10 months, 11 months, sir, that the bridge that is needed to get from the last administration and what basically happened under the last president and the last U.S. Department of Agriculture to this new golden age for farmers, where instead of farming for government checks, they can farm to feed their family and sell their products and pass it on to the next generation, that this bridge is absolutely necessary based on where we are right now. So as the president said, we are very pleased to announce that today we are going to be effectuating an $11 billion bridge payment to our farmers. The money will move by February 28th of 2026, but by the end of this month, so just in the next couple of weeks, every farmer that is able to apply for it will know exactly what that number looks like. So as you are going to your lender, as you are working to ensure and understanding what you can plant for next year, you will have that number in hand. And we will continue to talk to our farmers, continue to understand exactly what this looks like and what is necessary. The final thing I'll say is
12 billion.
Well, we're holding $1 billion back. So today we are announcing $11 billion. We are holding $1 billion back just to ensure that we are covering. So today's announcement covers all of our row crops, but some specialty crops and others that we are still working with to best understand where they are in the farm economy and ensure that we're making every forward-moving position that we need to. And then finally, as we move to this new golden age for agriculture and for rural America, as we continue to fight for these farmers and ranchers, their way of life, and those that are represented here represent hundreds of thousands of farmers across this country. Just know that this president, I have never been around anyone who every time we talk, he asks, how are my farmers? Every single time. So we will never stop fighting. We will make sure that we're doing everything we can to ensure the next 250 years is just as bright, if not brighter, than the last. So thank you, sir.
Brooke. Thank you. And this money would not be possible without tariffs. The tariffs are taking in, hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're giving some up to the farmers because they were mistreated by other countries for, I don't know, maybe right reasons, maybe wrong reasons. They weren't. They were trying to show us something, and it's really worked out really well. But because of the tariffs, this is possible. The other thing I'd like to add before going to Scott, and I think it's very important, we're going to also give the tractor companies, John Deere and all of the companies that make the equipment, we're going to take off a lot of the environmental restrictions that they have on machinery. It's ridiculous. I know because I buy a lot of that machinery for different things. We have a lot of big clubs with, hundreds, thousands of acres. And I buy a lot of stuff, and you buy it, it's got so much equipment on it for the environmental, it doesn't do anything, except it makes the equipment much more expensive and much more complicated to work. And it's not as good as the old days. And we're going to take a lot of that nonsense off of the equipment, which is going to reduce, and we're going to do it, and we're going to say you're going to reduce the prices. We're not going to do it, and they're not going to reduce. They're going to have to reduce their prices because farming equipment has gotten too expensive. And a lot of the reason is because they put these environmental excesses on the equipment, which don't do a damn thing except make it complicated, make it impractical. And you really have to be, in many cases, you need about 185 IQ to turn on a lawnmower now. So we're going to take that off, that crap off that they put on Biden mostly. And we're going to take that off. So that's going to make that'll bring down the equipment prices a lot.
That's right.
And we're going to do that immediately. You're going to work with Lee Zeldin, who's not here, is doing a fantastic job, and Lee is going to work that out. And that would be most of it. It's crazy. The machines, they're always under repair because they're so complicated that you can't fix them. The old days you used to fix it yourself. Now you can't do that. You have to be a PhD from, let's say, MIT. Okay, so we're going to get that done. Scott, please go ahead.
Good. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to the farmers to join us today. And I will tell all of you here that when either in person or when we are on a call with President Xi, the first thing the president asking for is more soybean purchases.
That's right.
We don't talk about geopolitics. We don't talk about trade. It's about soybean
We
purchases.
don't even say hello. We immediately start. Soybean. We start with the soybean, please.
Could you do a little? It's always could you do a little more? So. And I think
Alrighty, if you are just joining us, we've been listening in here to this roundtable discussion President Trump is currently holding right now from the White House, where he has just announced a $12 billion farm aid package. The president calling farmers the backbone of our country during this announcement, as he also offers that economic assistance there to the farming community. That package is a boost to farmers who have struggled to sell their crops while getting hit by the rising costs after the tariffs in China. Trump says that this package will provide some much needed certainty to America's farmers. So, of course, we'll keep our eye here on this roundtable. This announcement, we'll dip back into it if it's still happening. But I do actually want to take us back now to some local news happening here in southeastern Wisconsin. Yesterday was the 62nd annual Christmas parade in Waukesha, and unfortunately, a threat was made. So I want to go ahead and bring in our very own Brett Lemoyne, who's been on top of this story. Brett, what have we learned so far about this threat that happened yesterday?
Yeah, Haley, we have some new information just into the newsroom. Waukesha police confirmed that they did arrest a 41-year-old man on suspicion of disorderly conduct. Charges have been referred to the district attorney's office. He has not yet been formally charged, but we do expect those charges in the coming days.
Brett, do we know anything about the post that this suspect made or what exactly the threat was?
Yeah, so we don't know the specifics about the threat itself, but I do know that according to the administrator of a Facebook page, a Waukesha Strong Facebook page, this individual did make the post on that page yesterday, shortly before the parade started. Another member of this Facebook group saw it, and she, I guess, notified the administrator of the page, and then also said that she was going to be contacting police. That triggered a police investigation through Waukesha PD. They tell us they found this individual, again, at some point, presumably during the parade, because they were notified right at the start of the parade to this threat. They were able to take that individual into custody rather quickly.
Obviously, this comes just 4 years after the Waukesha Christmas Parade attack, where 6 lives were lost when that car went onto the parade route. I'm sure that this is a situation that people were already heightened at, and now, unfortunately, a threat made. I'm curious, though, I mean, the parade was able to go on. It doesn't seem like it interrupted anything, right, Brett?
Mm-hmm. That's correct, Haley. Yeah, there was no disruption to the parade, no delays. The parade went off without a hitch. So you can assume that perhaps the threat was not credible, but again, that's up to law enforcement. They obviously deemed it significant enough to move forward with an arrest and with charges. And Waukesha police note, that there is obviously heightened sensitivity, as you mentioned, because of the Christmas parade attack 4 years ago, but there's also heightened awareness because this is a large public gathering and it's something that they take very seriously. Obviously, when it comes to the parade attack, there are certainly people that even we talked to last night when we covered the parade, that was their first time back at the Waukesha Christmas Parade since November 21st of 2021. The Waukesha United for Waukesha Resiliency Center offers mental health assistance for any individuals that are impacted. And in fact, we reached out to them today because we knew that this would likely be very triggering for a lot of people. And this is operated through NAMI. And an individual, the executive director at NAMI, told us, you know what, they still get referrals every single week, new referrals of people who were impacted by the parade. They were very outraged and disgusted, frankly, that a threat of any kind was made about the Waukesha Christmas Parade, and they expect that this will have some sort of an impact on people's mental health as we move forward, especially into the holidays here, because it was so triggering and because the events of 2021 were so traumatic.
Yeah, understandably, of course. And I mean, it's good news to see how seriously the threat was taken by police, how quickly they went into action, that they were able to make this arrest. Obviously, still waiting to learn some more information about specifics there. But what has kind of been the vibe and the atmosphere in Waukesha today after this announcement came out about the threat?
Well, certainly, if we take a step back, I mean, last night there was an upbeat vibe to the parade. It certainly is something that the city will always honor and reflect upon the tragedy itself. But there's certainly been a push in recent months and even the last year or so to kind of try and move forward and try to put more of a positive foot forward in terms of the parade and the gathering itself. And certainly there was a joyous atmosphere, right? It's a Christmas parade after all. Santa Claus is there, and certainly a lot of families look forward to it. Today, I mean, especially folks at NAMI who take into account people's mental health and how this could certainly impact people, they were very upset when we informed them that this threat was made, and obviously they were happy that someone was arrested and will be, presumably will be prosecuted for whatever comments that they made. But certainly, they said that this is really kind of a sacred time now in Waukesha, where you do not make any comments like this, whether it was credible or not, or someone trying to be funny, thinking they were funny. It's not funny, and it's something that people take very seriously.
Yeah, and hopefully, the charges that come down will remind people that this is not something to joke about, that there are consequences for your words, even if they're online. You mentioned NAMI there, of course, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Brett, what is their message to anybody watching right now who is struggling after hearing this, who does feel unsettled and maybe is triggered a little bit?
Sure. They remind folks that the United for Waukesha Resiliency Center is still open. It's on Pewaukee Road in Waukesha. Again, they are saying that they still receive referrals each and every week of new individuals who were impacted by the parade. You know, one of the things that we had pointed out in our reporting closer to November 21st of this year was that the funding will soon run out for the Resiliency Center itself. The physical building will likely go away by May of next year, but NAMI says they have a plan and they have applied for grants that will hope to continue some of the programming that they have in place through the end of the next calendar year, so through the end of 2026. But certainly those resources are still available. There are still people that are on standby waiting to help if needed.
And Brett, hopefully, honestly, if anybody's watching right now and they hear that they still get phone calls every single week, it can remind you, you are not alone.
Yeah.
If you are struggling with this, you know, there are those resources available. Other people are taking advantage of them, and you should as well. Where do we go from here? Any sort of a timeline on when we might get charges or any sort of legal action, Brett?
So, well, we would assume by tomorrow or Wednesday at the very latest. From what I understand and from what our reporting entails, this individual was held at Waukesha Police through last night. So presumably, you know, that obviously triggers a timeline for charges. But yeah, I would think by tomorrow at the very latest, we would probably see some sort of charge. If in fact the district attorney decides to move forward with it, you would think that that she would, given the gravity of this. And again, just from what you were saying earlier, Haley, the fact that there are still referrals each and every week just speaks to the rawness and the continued healing here in Waukesha from that tragedy, which makes this threat even more compounded and more infuriating.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll certainly keep our eye on this and let our viewers know if that suspect gets identified or if and when any charges are brought down. But Brett, thanks so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk with the latest.
Thank you, Haley.
Again, that is coming out of the Waukesha Christmas Parade happening last night. We just learned of a threat that was made against it. Police did act very swiftly. They did arrest a man, we are told, still working to get the specifics there. Obviously, Brett is working pretty hard on that story, so he'll have any updates for you if and when they come down. I do want to quickly take us back out to D.C. Obviously, President Trump currently holding a roundtable discussing some aid for farmers that he just announced. We're going to listen back in here for a few more minutes as this roundtable continues.
Statement on that. I will give that to them, and they will do what they have to do.
Yes, sir.
We're always helping them, and they do this kind of stuff. And you know, they pass little regulations that cost billions of dollars. It takes them 2 minutes to do it. They do it. Very tough. No good. You give me a couple of paragraphs. That's all. We'll have to do a lengthy study, and I'll get that changed fast. Okay?
Thank you very much, President. We love you.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, every day it's something else.
A country that can't feed itself doesn't know what freedom is. And so thank you for making sure that our farmers have the tools that they need so that we as a country can feed ourselves.
Well, just what you said to me about, you know, the European Union. Now, that guy's the European Union, right? We have to be able to act quickly with tariffs. We can't just, you know, go to a committee, go to a study that takes 7 months and talk. We got to be able to act quickly. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
John?
So thank you. I think that's the message from Farm Country is thank you very much. You know, in the Working Family Tax Relief Act, or as my young staffers call it, OB3, there is a tremendous amount for farmers and ranchers. You mentioned the credit as far as estate tax, which is so important. You analyzed it just right. But also in there, we enhanced ARC and PLC, which is a countercyclical safety net, thanks to the strong leadership of Senator Bozeman and our colleagues in the House. But we also included the Farmer Act, which was my bill to make crop insurance more affordable. These tools will kick in next year, Mr. President.
Again, we've been listening in to this roundtable announcement with the president, who did announce $12 billion in farm aid. It's a new package that he's releasing that's partially funded by some of the tariffs, saying that those tariffs against China has hurt some of the farmers in our country. That's why he wanted to provide some help in the form of that $12 billion farm aid package. We're going to keep our eyes on this roundtable, continue to kind of dip in and out here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But for now, we are going to take a quick break here on the Live Desk, because when we come back, we get to talk to Make-A-Wish. Tomorrow is a huge day here at Fox 6, where you, our viewers, can help call in, donate money, and help the long list of Wisconsinites who have a wish granted. So we're really excited to learn the specifics in just a few minutes. Make sure and stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk this Monday afternoon, where it is now 3 minutes after 2. We're really cruising along here on the Wisconsin Live Desk today. I'll be with you for about the next 25 minutes or so, and then Ted Perry will take over and get you guys all the way to 3:30. But as I mentioned, we are gearing up tomorrow here at Fox 6 to help out Make-A-Wish Foundation and all of the Wisconsinites that still have their wishes that need to be granted. We're actually joined right now on the Live Desk by Forrest. Thanks so much for taking the time here to chat with us about Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I mean, for starters, simple enough question. For our viewers who have maybe never heard of Make-A-Wish, tell us a little bit about who you guys are and what you do for our community.
Sure. So Make-A-Wish creates wishes for children who are living with critical illnesses, children who are between the ages of 2.5 and 18 at the time of referral, and who have been diagnosed with a progressive, degenerative, or malignant medical condition. And if a child medically qualifies for WISH and they haven't ever received a wish before, then they get a wish. And we've been granting wishes here in Wisconsin since 1984. In fact, we just granted our 9,000th wish in September.
Oh, how exciting. And I think it's always so cool for me when I see what each specific child wishes for and how different they can be. The world is truly their oyster. So right now, what does the need look like? How many Wisconsinite children are there out there who have a wish, but it hasn't been granted yet?
Right now, our pipeline has about 400 children in it. So that means, and they're everywhere from just being referred to about to have their wishes granted. So that's a lot of wishes. Last year we granted 434 wishes, and this year our goal is to grant 437 wishes. And so it requires a lot of resources to make sure that we grant every single one of those wishes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where the Fox 6 viewers can lend a helping hand tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about the telethon that we are getting ready for.
Yeah, we're excited to have our first Wishful Giving Telethon tomorrow on Fox 6. So we're going to be on air from 6 a.m. until noon tomorrow. And every hour, there are going to be 2 different wish families that are going to share their inspiring and powerful stories and talk about their wish and their wish experience and the impact that it made on their lives. It's going to be a really special morning of just sharing those powerful stories and inviting your viewers and anybody who wants to get involved to be a part of granting more wishes for these kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have a goal tomorrow that you're hoping to raise, or how much does the average wish cost that our Fox 6 viewers can help? Sure.
So the average cost of a wish cash-wise now is close to $9,000 per wish. With inflation, those numbers have gone up over the last couple of years. So for us, I mean, we would love to raise at least $50,000, which would help us grant more than 5 wishes. I probably grant about 6 or 7 wishes if possible. But we'd love to even grant more than that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to give too much away for tomorrow, but I was looking at the list of wishes, and I just love, the creativity and how it really is individualized. I mean, we have somebody wanting to meet Danny DeVito, somebody who wants a camper, a couple Disney World trips, people who just want a shopping spree. But as you talked about, these is such an impactful moment, not just for the child, but really their families. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So, when a child is diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, it really impacts the entire family, right? It impacts obviously the child and their parents, but also the siblings. And so we make sure we include the entire family in the wish process. And so the siblings get to be a part of whatever that wish experience is. If it's a trip to Disney World, we make sure that there's even spending money there for the siblings to get themselves some souvenirs and things like that. And once in a while, we'll have wish families where you've got 2 wish kids. In fact, one of our interviews tomorrow is going to be with Vivian. And Vivian, her wish was to go out to New York to an acting camp. And her sister Vera, you might have seen on air, she's been kind of the featured wish kid of our campaign, and she's been on with Ted Perry. And her wish was granted to have a baking station in the corner of her family's kitchen.
Yeah, I love how individualized it is. And I will say, if any of our viewers have seen the way the baking kitchen turned out, it looks amazing. You guys do a great job granting these wishes. But I also know there is kind of some help from, the various celebrities who, when the wish is to meet them, they say absolutely. So what is it like having their help as well granting these wishes?
It's always really inspiring because so many of the celebrities we'll hear from them and they'll say, so this child gets to wish for anything and they want to meet me. They're very humbled by that. And I think they don't take it for granted. One of our most popular celebrity wish granters is John Cena. He has granted more wishes than any other celebrity. He's granted over 650 wishes for children from all over the country and the world. And he continues to do that because he knows what a difference it makes, and he is happy to give of his time. And that is the case for just about every celebrity. They're really happy to give of their time. If they can make it work, they are happy to give these kids the hope and the joy that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, that's our WWE superstar there. But there's so many celebrities that I know lend a helping hand. I think this is the time of year where people want to give back, but they don't always know how or where or how to make sure it stays in their community. And I think tomorrow will be a great way for them to do that. So we are so looking forward. I believe it starts at 6 a.m. Y'all will have until noon, so make sure and tune in to wake up. Get your phones at the ready. We'll have a lot of volunteers excited to take those calls, and hopefully we can grant a lot of wishes here in Wisconsin. Forrest, thanks so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Thank you. Glad to be with you.
Yes, and we will see you tomorrow, bright and early.
Sounds good.
Don't forget, we will have that telethon tomorrow, so make sure and tune in to Wake Up. Starts at 6 a.m. We'll be joined with so many of the different families. So you can hear firsthand those wishes and how it can truly make such an impact for them, especially in this kind of busy time of the holiday season. So I'm so excited to see how you guys show up. You showed up in such a big way for our Fox 6 Coats for Kids Drive. I know I am so grateful to live in such a generous community, and I can't wait to see you guys do it all over again tomorrow. For now, we're going to actually head back to D.C. I know we've been dipping in and out of this kind of roundtable the president is holding, so let's listen again as he continues to talk about this new aid that he is providing to farmers, $12 billion in a farming aid package.
Of our country, that means prices going up, and we brought it down very substantially. Now inflation is essentially gone. We have it normalized, and it'll go down even a little bit further. You don't want it to be deflation either. You have to be careful. But we brought it way down. We had inflation that was the highest in the history of our country. They say 48 years, but I say the history. 48 years is pretty bad too, right? So we're solving those problems. We're bringing them way down. Yeah.
Would you consider MAHA incentives for farmers that go by MAHA guidelines?
Well, a lot of the farmers like those MAHA guidelines. Yeah. So I mean, they do. We like MAHA. How do you feel about that?
Let me answer that. So this is another reason, I didn't mention it, but this is another reason I think that what we're moving into is a golden age for agriculture. As Secretary Kennedy and I, and across our cabinet with the president's leadership, focusing on making America healthy again, the undergirding foundational effort in that is our agriculture industry. It is our farmers and our ranchers. So as the new dietary guidelines come out in early January, where USDA alone spends $400 million a day on nutrition programs, that's a whole other SNAP, fraud, etc. But when you think about what a market mover that is, as we begin to move the market toward more locally produced, American-made, healthier products, closer to the schools, the hospitals, etc., you again begin to open up so much of the market for the great products produced by these farmers instead of ultra-processed foods out of a box. So there's a lot that's going to be coming on that as well. I'm really excited.
I have one more question. It's not related to farming, but if you'll entertain. I'm Kara from Lindell TV, Kara Kashnov, and I'm not fake news, just so you know. And everybody's talking about the pipe bomber over the weekend, the suspect that was taken into custody. I reported on Biden's kangaroo court for 4 years, and this is an important question to me. Everyone knows that J6 was a Fed's direction to set you and your supporters up. So my question is, what's your gut instinct about the new pipe bomber suspect taken into custody? Does your instinct tell you that he acted alone? And also, Mr. President, how do you feel about the lead prosecutor on the pipe bomber case? Jocelyn Ballantine is the same prosecutor that allegedly asked the J6er to lie to frame you for J6 when you did nothing wrong. What are your thoughts?
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that question. It's sort of a statement, and I appreciate it very much. Jocelyn is being looked at. They all have to be looked at. What they're doing is so bad. This was a whole Democrat hoax. The whole thing was a Democrat hoax, and it's all being looked at. I appreciate that.
Is this the final aid package, Mr. President, or is more expected? Is this the final aid package, farm aid package?
It depends on where we go. China's buying a lot. Other countries are buying a lot. And, you know, the interesting thing about the farm, they don't want aid. They want to just have a level playing field.
No, please.
I've seen that more with farmers than anybody else, any other industry, right, Deb?
Right.
We've seen it more with farmers where I've had meetings like this, and primarily in the first term, and we did a great job. We turned it around. This is going to be the golden age. But the farmers don't want aid. They want to have a level playing field, because if they have a level playing field, they'll do better than anybody else. They're better than anybody else. Our product is incredible. Our machinery is incredible, right? I mean, we do have the best machines. It's a very big statement I made, though. The environmental excess that we have put onto our tractors and all of our machinery. Do you all agree with that, by the way?
Oh, yes.
You don't
It's got to go.
Again, we've been listening in here to this roundtable President Trump is currently holding, where he did announce a $12 billion farm aid package. This is supposed to provide some much needed certainty to America's farmers, is what President Trump said earlier on in this roundtable. It's also supposed to kind of just boost the farmers who have really struggled to sell their crops since they got hit with the rising costs that came down following the president's tariffs in China. So he's hoping that this aid will kind of counteract that and really help out the farmers. A couple other things that I just want to let you know that we're monitoring. This is here at Reagan Airport, where we are expecting to hear from both Secretary Duffy and Secretary Kennedy. They're holding a press conference. You can see there the podium says "Make travel family friendly" again. So we'll certainly keep our eye here on this podium and this feed and see when the secretaries take to the stand, provide some updates, and perhaps we'll be able to listen to it here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But for now, it is time to take another break, so we'll be back in just 2 minutes. Stay with us. Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Haley Spittler with you here Monday afternoon at 2:17. Let's go ahead and take another live look outside here in downtown Milwaukee, where the sun appears to already be setting, which is always so sad to me considering it's only 2 p.m. It gets dark so early these days. Of course, though, Milwaukee and the area here getting ready for a pretty big trial next week. Hannah Dugan, a judge, will be on trial. So I want to go ahead and bring in our political reporter, Jason Calvi, who's joining us from the newsroom. Jason, this is going to be a trial that gets a lot of attention really around the country. But for our viewers who have never heard of this case before, kind of set the scene for us.
Yeah, this case is going to be they're going to be doing jury selection starting this Thursday, potentially Friday, and then the trial will kick off next week. So it's going to really gain a lot of national attention. It already has in the whole process of it getting to this point. What it centers on is Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan. The feds accused her, and a grand jury also accused her, of helping an immigrant who is going to be in her courtroom or was in her courtroom for a criminal matter in the state court system. They accused her of then finding out that ICE was in that hallway and then helping him use a non-public jury door to then potentially bypass the waiting immigration agents outside of her courtroom. So it's a long process to get us to this point, but the trial is going to be kicking off next week. Jury selection will be at the end of this week.
And of course, I just want to let all of our viewers know that we will have you covered here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We are already planning on streaming from 12 to 4 we won't have a live stream of the trial. A judge has ruled we can't do that, which, speaking of judges, Jason, it's kind of an interesting case because it revolves around Judge Hannah Dugan, but the judge presiding over it is Lynn Edelman, which is kind of the focus of your story today. What do we need to know about Judge Edelman?
Yeah, so we're talking about two different court systems here. We got the state court, which is where Hannah Dugan's situated, Milwaukee County Circuit Court. That's where she's been working, and now she's been suspended as this trial works its way through the system. So the Supreme Court of Wisconsin suspended her from her official duties because of, in light of the trial and the criminal matters, the charges against her. So she's still getting paid, but she's temporarily suspended from her official duties in the state court system. So that's part one. Part two is the federal charges in the federal court. That's where all the action is going to be taking place at the end of this week, and then next week she's facing those federal charges. And so again, we can't bring our cameras into those federal courtrooms. We're not going to be able to show you, but we will have extensive coverage. We're going to have live blogging. We're going to have reporters inside the courtroom bringing you all the action, all that we can bring you, which will be all of the nuts and bolts of what's happening, all of the things that are taking place outside. We're going to be bringing to you live right here on the live desk all week. So stay tuned right here. Judge Lynn Edelman is the federal judge who's going to be overseeing the trial of State Judge Hannah Dugan. So we'll be looking at Judge Edelman. He's really been on the bench for a long time. He was appointed by President Clinton back in the 90s to this position, a lifetime appointment to the bench. He's now in senior status, so he still takes on some cases from time to time. And when Hannah Dugan drew the judges, this was the one that it was appointed to, Judge Edelman. So we'll be looking at his background today and kind of looking at some of his issues in the past, what he's brought forward. He was a former state lawmaker. He was a Democratic state lawmaker in the state legislature for decades. He also ran for Congress, I believe, 3 times. And what's interesting about that, the first go around was 1974, and his campaign manager was none other than a very young, up-and-coming scholar by the name of Mordecai Lee.
Interesting. You're learning so much by doing this kind of, I don't say dive deep, but no, that doesn't actually make sense, Jason. You've just been digging really deep into Judge Edelman's background there.
And the people that might be, watching the live desk, Mordecai Lee is a political analyst. He's often on, mostly every election night, he'll be on Fox 6 giving kind of an analysis of what's happening. He really has his handle on a lot of things politically, but here he was as a young up-and-coming. He was a graduate student at that point in time, finishing up a dissertation, and took a little time off from the dissertation work to come back here and run Lynn Edelman's first run for Congress in 1974. It failed. They didn't win. But then they ended up serving in the legislature together, and so we'll have some of those behind-the-scenes remembrances of Judge Edelman when he was at that point a state senator.
Yeah, again, all week long we'll be getting ready for this really big trial that will be Hannah Dugan there, Judge Hannah Dugan next week. Judge Lynn Edelman will be the one presiding over it. You are diving deep into his history, as you just mentioned. Jason, when can we catch your story today on Fox Local?
So it will be on tonight at 5 and 6. We're going to be looking at some of the background. He did get into a spat. Conservatives have been really critical of Judge Lynn Edelman in the past for some of his rulings, including putting on hold the voter ID law here in Wisconsin. In the year 2020, he actually published this law review article, and he was very critical of U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, as well as in the past criticizing President Trump. So we'll look at that. He was actually criticized by an ethics board of the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals in Chicago, which oversees Wisconsin, for this article, which did run in the Harvard Law Journal. Interesting, we'll have that at 5, but he did get disciplined for that. He had to issue an apology because of what he wrote about the Chief Justice of the United States in this law article. But you're going to hear conservatives raise criticisms about Edelman. They'll say he's far left and speaking publicly against the Chief Justice. But you're also going to hear conservatives say, well, he got this right. They believe he got right. The Dugan campaign, or the Dugan law team, tried to have this case thrown out, and Judge Edelman was the one that had ruled on that and said, no, this case will move forward. And in his words, a review, this is quote, a review of the relevant history reveals that the government has the better of the argument. The government is the one that is arguing against Judge Dugan trying to have her found guilty in that courtroom. Now, it'll be the jurors who make the final determination, but Judge Edelman, as the judge in that courtroom, will have a lot of very important decisions in the working of this court case. And again, as he did, he made that decision in August to let the case move forward, saying that the government has the better of the argument on that issue of whether or not Judge Dugan's case should be thrown out because of what her defense attorneys were saying, is that they said she had judicial immunity. He says, no, the government has the better argument. Let's let this case move forward.
Yeah, and of course the case certainly is moving forward. As you mentioned, jury selection begins later this week. The trial is expected to start next week, and we'll be covering it heavily here on the Wisconsin Live Desk and on Fox 6, starting with some coverage today as we learn more about Judge Lynn Edelman through your story later on and Fox Local. Jason, thanks so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
And of course, actually, just a few minutes, we're also going to hear from our investigative reporter, Brian Polson, who's kind of digging in today to some laws that changed back in January regarding ICE and in and outs of courts, and how this really set the scene for this huge case that is going to begin next week. So he'll be joining us in just a few minutes when Ted Perry takes over. But for now, we're going to take another quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Haley with you here at 2:27, and before I hand things over to Ted Perry, I did just want to let you know some exciting news here. The Golden Globes, they announced their nominees earlier this morning, but I just want to draw specific attention to this category. This is the nominees for the Best Female Actor in a Motion Picture, either musical or comedy, and you might see three down there. Kate Hudson, she is nominated for Song Sung Blue, which of course is the movie all about a Milwaukee couple. She plays the role of Claire Sardina, who was in the very famous Neil Diamond tribute band Lightning and Thunder. We saw Hugh Jackman here last week promoting Song Sung Blue, so a very exciting moment for Kate with that nomination, but also for the city of Milwaukee with that nomination. So hey, Delaney and I tomorrow are going to walk you through more of those nominees because there's some exciting categories, but just wanted to put that on your radar with Kate. A lot of people are already thinking that she might be really in the conversation for an Oscar this year with her role there in Song Sung Blue, which is pretty exciting. I am going to take us back to the round table with President Trump. He's been talking about a $12 billion farming aid package that's been made available to help those farmers who are impacted hard by the tariffs. But after this, Ted Perry is going to take over. He's got you to 3:30. It's been fun hanging out with you the last 2 hours. I'll be back tomorrow.
Democrats want to make the insurance companies rich. They're all paid off by the insurance companies. There's a tremendous amount of the insurance company funding goes to Democrats. Why don't you ask that question of the Democrats? Because I would love to do it. I'd love all of the money to go to the people. They go to the people. You know, I put that out 2 weeks ago. It became #1 viral. People love it. I want the money to go for healthcare, to go to the people and let the people buy their own healthcare through an account. They can buy their own healthcare. And everybody loves it, except for the Democrats. And you know why they don't? Because they're paid off by the insurance companies. Okay, what else?
Yeah, Alina Habba says she's stepping down as U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey after the courts disqualified her. Do you have any comment on that?
Well, she's not disqualified. You've got a blue slip thing that's horrible. It's a horrible thing. It makes it impossible to appoint a judge or a U.S. attorney, and it's a shame. And the Republicans should be ashamed of themselves that they allow this to go on, because I can't appoint a U.S. attorney that's not a Democrat, because they put a block on it. So if you appoint in Virginia or in New Jersey or in California a U.S. attorney or a judge, I mean, a judge situation is ridiculous. The only people that you can get by are Democrats, because they will put a hold on it. If I put up George Washington and Abraham Lincoln to be U.S. attorney in New Jersey or to be U.S. attorney in Virginia, we have Democrat senators, they will not approve them. And this is a gentleman's agreement that's lasted for too long, and it doesn't make it, especially in light of what's going on today. It means you can't appoint a Republican U.S. attorney, and we don't play the same game with them, but they do. And I hope that somebody speaks to Senator Grassley about doing something about the blue slip, because I'm telling you, John, I put up great people, top people, highest education, the best lawyers to be like U.S. attorney, and both senators, it only takes one. But if they're Democrat senators, they say, we're not going to approve it. I had a couple of them say, why don't you appoint Democrats? All because Senator Grassley, with his blue slip stuff, will not let anybody go by. By the way, the Democrats have violated the blue slip provision on numerous occasions, but we don't do it. And what it means is, I guess I just have to keep appointing people for 3 months and then just appoint another one. And it's a very sad situation. We're losing a lot of great people. We have about 7 U.S. attorneys who are not going to be able to keep their jobs much longer because of the blue slip. Because unless, I think I know why they did that, to protect their ass. Okay, that's why they did that. But it should be done away with. I want to be able to appoint the most highly educated, the most respected people. They can't keep their jobs because of the blue slips. Terrible. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. The farmers, let's come into the Oval Office. All right, Deb, come on. We're going to go into the Oval Office. You're going to see what a real office is. Keep your little...
Thank you, Press. Let's go.
All right, everybody. Ted Perry with you here in the Wisconsin Live Desk. And if I look different today, it's because we're sitting. Yeah, we've added a chair. Look at this. We've added a chair. This whole time we've been standing, but we're on it so much that they said, you know what? Get comfortable. You're going to be here a while. We are going to be here a while. Busy hour for you coming up. Brian Polston in a second from the newsroom. Want to take a very quick break to start things off. 24 degrees at 2:32. We are going to be back with you shortly right here on Wisconsin Live Desk to kick things off.
Wisconsin Live Desk.
All right, now we're cooking with gas, everybody. Ted Perry, 2:34 on a Monday afternoon, a chilly Monday afternoon. In a few minutes, we're going to check in with Stephanie Barrichello. But later this week, we will be down at the federal courthouse in Milwaukee for jury selection in the Hannah Dugan case. Hannah Dugan is the Milwaukee County judge who is accused of helping an undocumented man escape ICE agents earlier this year. And a case that got national attention, reached the president's desk, reached Kash Patel's desk. They tweeted about it. They wrote about it on social media, Truth Social. And how did we get here? What does it all mean? What are we doing? Brian Polson has the answer to that. Brian is in our newsroom. He is going to be part of our coverage. You're going to be in here a lot. This is going to be your room, I think. This is going to be your home for a while. You've made it your home a lot. There have been times when you've just been camped in here for different cases, but I'm going to hand it over to you, and you're going to tell me what is going on and how we got here and where this thing might be going.
Well, my focus today is really sort of the federal immigration policy in terms of arrests at courthouses. That's my focus today, and I'll show you, Ted. I've got, you wouldn't be surprised, I got all my paperwork, right? I've got all my reports.
That surprises no one.
Yeah. What's that?
That surprises no one who knows you. Right. You are a document-oriented man.
I am. I'm a document guy. And here's the thing. These 4 documents that I just showed you are the 4 guidance documents issued by 4 different presidential administrations that had to do with when and where these immigration arrests can take place. And I'm going to use a term, civil immigration enforcement. Civil is an important word here because it means it's something that the administrative agency, that ICE wants to do. They believe they have cause to interview or arrest or something, but they haven't gotten their warrant signed by a judge. In cases of civil immigration enforcement, not warrant signed by a judge, there are certain rules and regulations that play in here. And if you go all the way back to this first document here, Ted, this is from 2011. I've got a sticky note up at the top. I don't know if you can see it. It says Obama. That's just because it makes it easy for me to read. But under the Obama administration back in 2011, they created this document that was about enforcement actions at or focused on, quote, sensitive locations. It was a term that they used to describe places like schools and churches and hospitals, funerals and weddings, or actually places where there might be a public demonstration, say it's a rally or a protest. The Obama administration said essentially, we don't want enforcement actions, administrative ICE actions taking place at these locations. They're sensitive. We don't want people to fear sending their children to school or having them interrupted in the middle of a wedding or a funeral or being afraid to go out and protest publicly. So they described the sensitive locations where they didn't want these enforcement actions to happen, but they didn't use the word courthouses. They didn't describe courthouses. It was sort of an understanding, unwritten, but an understanding that, yeah, courthouses maybe are part of this. But there was some disagreement over that through the years.
Let me explain, or have you explain, why courthouses, even though it wasn't written in, are of particular interest in those sensitive areas, because many times these people who are undocumented, they are witnesses to a crime. They are victims of a crime. And yes, there are times when they are charged with a crime. But on those first 2 points, they want people showing up to court to testify, and they want them showing up to court, if they're a victim, to plead their case, right?
And that's something that becomes more and more clear as some of these documents, these guidance documents go on, Ted, because while I said it was sort of unspoken, there was this sort of understanding that courthouses are a sensitive place. You don't want people to be afraid to come to court, whether you're a defendant and have rights to exercise, or whether you are someone who is a witness to a crime who might be able to help prosecutors to convict someone of a crime. It was in 2018, during the first Trump administration, Trump 45, that the Trump administration issued its own document. And in that one, they essentially said that actions in courthouses would be allowed when they're operationally necessary with a supervisor's approval. So there was still a recognition. This should be rare. This shouldn't be something you're doing all the time. But there need to be cases sometimes where a case calls for an arrest in a courthouse situation, but let's make sure we're talking to the bosses here and clearing it through all the channels. So In 2018, you start to hear concerns that this is spiking. This is happening much more frequently, and there were a lot of the ACLU and others were pushing back saying, hey, we're seeing a lot of people being arrested in courthouse situations, and the concern wasn't just for the people being arrested, but for the impact on the people who then go, well, wait a minute, am I safe to go to my local courthouse, like you raised a moment ago, Ted? And that was the case through the rest of the first Trump administration. President Biden comes into office in 2020, and in 2021 actually was inaugurated, and a few months into his administration issues new guidance, civil enforcement actions at or near courthouses. This is specific to courthouses, and in that document in 2021, it essentially said, don't do these civil enforcement actions at courthouses except under limited circumstances. And flipping through my documents here to find where it says what those limited here they are. The limited circumstances were if it involves a national security threat, if it involves imminent risk of death, violence, or physical harm to a person, if it involves hot pursuit of an individual who poses a threat to public safety, or there's an imminent risk of destruction of evidence material to a criminal case. Those were the limited exceptional circumstances under the Biden administration policy when these ICE arrests could happen in or near a courthouse. Then in January of this year, President Trump elected again, inaugurated again, and quite literally within hours or the first day or two of his new administration, he issues new guidance, civil immigration enforcement actions in or near courthouses, essentially rescinding any of these protected spaces and expanding upon that list of times when it is likely to call for such an arrest. Adding to national security threats, he adds specific aliens with criminal convictions, gang members, and again, the term alien is what is used in the document, that's why I'm reading it here, aliens who have been ordered removed from the United States but have failed to depart, and aliens who have re-entered the country illegally after being removed. A pretty dramatic expansion in terms of the number of potential cases that could apply. And it was after that, about 3 months after that document was issued, that we end up with this clash at the Milwaukee County Courthouse where ICE agents are there to arrest Eduardo Flores Ruiz, who was the defendant in a criminal case, a misdemeanor case at that, but was at the courthouse and was before Judge Hannah Dugan. The agents came to effectuate their civil warrant. She asks if it's a judicial warrant. They say no. She says you need to go to the chief judge to work this out. And what the Justice Department says, and what will be key in the case we're going to hear, Ted, is they say while the agents are up in the chief judge's office, which is just down the hall from her, it's not far away, that she then speeds up the calling of Eduardo Flores Ruiz's case and afterwards escorts him out a jury door, a non-public door of the courthouse in an effort to evade arrest. Now, it turns out the agents were able to spot him. They caught up with him outside the courthouse, and after a foot chase, they arrested the man they came to arrest in the first place, and ultimately, Judge Dugan was arrested in this very high-profile case, which has been a signature case for the Trump administration, is certainly going to get a lot of attention. But that's what led up to all of this, was all of this flip-flopping of policy. You have the Trump administration coming in and essentially saying there are no more safe spaces. We're going to highly prioritize immigration enforcement, even in courthouses.
And very often people can say, and again, ignorance of the law is not an excuse for it, but sometimes a lawyer might be able to argue, look, there have been so many changing policies here, my client couldn't have known. That might work with you or me. This is a judge. She should know what the policies are in her own courtroom, right? I mean, it can't really be a defense tactic to say there have been so many policy changes, Judge Dugan didn't know which one was applicable at the time.
Yes and no, and I'll say this. One thing we still don't know is Chief Judge Carl Ashley has been promising since this happened to have a formal policy on how to deal with civil enforcement actions by ICE at the Milwaukee County Courthouse. Well, we still don't have that policy. Here we are, what is it, 8 months later? Well, not that many. Yeah, no, it is, 8 months later.
Yeah.
And we still don't have that policy. Now, does that mean that there's been nothing communicated? There's a draft policy. I'm guessing a lot of that's been communicated to people at the courthouse. Certainly that's a question. I don't know if the defense will try to exploit that at all in the trial, but certainly there is some confusion over what really was the policy to be followed in this circumstance. I think where it probably becomes more difficult, if I shift and put on my more legal analysis hat, is the using of the jury room door. That's a non-public door. And so no other defendant goes out that door unless there's some other specific reason. Usually it's someone who's in custody. In this case, that may be a difficult hurdle to get over, and that's one maybe.
So not often used, but do we know the legality of whether it's allowed to be used for those defendants? Or is that all up to the judge's discretion?
I couldn't tell you that here, but I think in terms of trying to make the case, if you're the Justice Department lawyers saying, we think she was trying to hide them from ICE, and you go and she used a door that they don't normally use, it certainly would probably underscore the case they're trying to make. Whether that's going to work with the jury or not, all of this is going to be the stuff we're going to find out in this trial, and I'm sure we're going to be breaking every sentence down with a fine-tooth comb.
Jury selection begins Thursday at the federal courthouse. The trial begins in earnest on Monday. I'm going to let you go after this, but our challenge, because we're going to be streaming as much of this as possible, and our viewers are used to seeing video from courtrooms, in state court, in circuit court, right? And no cameras allowed.
Yeah,
we have
federal court is one of the hard places to cover because we don't get that. You can't watch yourself and listen to vocal inflection and watch body language. You really do have to rely on us. I think we play a really important role here because we've got to translate what's happening in that courtroom to what you can hear and see and what's going on. There will be sketch artists, I believe, who are going to give you some of those images, but really it's trying to take what's been said in court and breaking it down for you in a way that's meaningful, but without misleading or biasing the information.
And it's going to be fascinating for us because we are entering a brave new world of how to cover trials, because we are, and we've done it before, we have done it with other trials. We did it with Shade Robinson trial for sure. You weren't here for much of the time, but we could also bring you into court. This is a little different for us, so it's going to be very interesting, and we got a plan of attack for this, so we'll be doing that all next week. I'm going to let you go. We're going to take a quick break. Brian Polson, thank you very much from the newsroom, explaining how we got to this point in a case that can be very convoluted at times. One thing we all understand is the weather. We don't understand how it happens. We have experts for that. We're going to talk to one of them, Stephanie Barrichello, after a very quick break here. You are watching Wisconsin Live Desk on a Monday, 24 degrees. We'll be right back.
Desk.
And welcome back, everybody. We're going to take you outside right now at 2:48 on a gloomy Monday. As you look downtown at the Associated Bank building, you can see City Hall on the right. You can see a lot of gloom in the background. It is fitting for a Monday. But guess what? It's even going to get a little more nuts around here. Stephanie Barrichello joining us. First of all, how was your weekend?
Pretty good. How about yours?
Great. Did the Santa Rampage.
How was that?
So much fun. Producer Delaney Reed, I sent you pictures. Do we have those, or how do we? Can you throw any of them up right now? So Steph can see.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
So this is down at Lakefront Brewery, which is one of the destinations.
A lot of Santas,
A
Ted.
lot of Santas, yeah. Some people go, Santa, and everyone would look, so that gets fun. All right, Delaney, this is the inside. And I got to Lakefront Brewery. This used to be one of the big destinations. People came from all directions, and it was packed, and it was really tough to get a beer or soda or whatever. They got smart, and they put stands outside. So kudos to Lakefront Brewery. And let's just see a few more. What do we else got here, Delaney? There I am, and that's Stephanie, my girlfriend. She's Ralphie from A Christmas Story. She wore the bunny outfit and rode around in that all day. So kudos to her. And a lot of people might, could we go back to the other one of me for a second? Could we go back? A lot of people might say, oh, you're wearing like a Santa belly. Nope, nope, real deal.
Oh, stop,
yeah, real deal
Ted.
there. So that's, you know, in character for sure. And what else we got here, Delaney? I want to point out how sunny it is. Yeah, not me here. I want to make it clear. But this is
That's
Santa.
a brave soul.
Skinny Dippin' Santa, we call them. I don't know who he is. We don't know who any of these are. But yeah, just a little fun down there. And I bring that up because the weather was so pretty. How do I take off the double box here? I don't.
It's almost like the temperature held steady overnight, because I was out Saturday morning too, and it wasn't awful, Ted.
It was great. It was really, really lovely. And when the sun came out, it was gorgeous.
That's awesome.
And I show that just because I wanted to see sunshine, because I didn't see it today. What's the deal?
Oh, yeah. What's the deal, Ted? What's not happening this week?
Okay.
That's probably the better question.
For our viewers, we just broke from an editorial meeting, and we always start by going right to the meteorologist who's on, and more often than not, it's Stephanie. And she just said, whew. She kind of went like this. You went, oh, like I don't even know how to tell you this. So go ahead and tell the folks what you just told us.
Yeah, today's one of those days, and the week will be one of those weeks where us as meteorologists have to ask for extra time for our weathercasts. We get about 3.5 minutes most of the time. I think at 4, I'm getting 4 minutes. I'll take that extra 30 seconds because there is so much going on in the days ahead. We have a 1-2 punch when it comes to snow and even wintry mix potential. We're going to see a brief warm up, but that's going to make things messy. Then we have a big drop in temperatures towards the weekend and 2 more chances for at least some light snow Friday into Saturday. So that is a total of 4 systems in the span of the next 6 days, plus the cold, plus a little bit of wind thrown in between. So we're just continuing on this very active trend for the end of November and start to December. Now we've seen flurries today and cloud cover, no sunshine like we lucked out and saw Saturday morning. But for our nighttime hours, we are watching a storm system that's out towards the west. So this is kind of the round one. Low pressure itself is still in southern Canada, but you can see the snow out ahead of that warm front in western Minnesota. So that's going to move through overnight tonight, not until after about 11 p.m. So evening commute tonight going to be just fine, but it will be bringing in some light snow, potentially up to about 1 inch of accumulation as we wake up tomorrow morning. Most of it will be gone as we are commuting, but we could still see, a few slippery spots. We'll probably still have to brush the snow off or clear it off before we head to work tomorrow morning. There is a very brief window early tomorrow too, where we could see this exiting as a little bit of mix. I don't think it's looking as likely, but that is something we'll have to watch out for early tomorrow morning. Otherwise, I'm not expecting a huge issue with round one. These are both Alberta Clipper systems, meaning they're in and out very quickly. They form over Alberta, Canada, and then favor the northern tier of the U.S., oftentimes the Great Lakes region, then over to New England states. So first Alberta, again, is that one we just talked about, just out towards the west. We have a second one still a little farther towards the west. That's going to move in Tuesday evening and then linger throughout at least your morning and midday on Wednesday. That's going to be the messier storm system. In fact, we already have a lot of winter headlines where we're kind of waiting on our office, the National Weather Service out in Sullivan, out in Jefferson County, to see what they decide to issue or if they're going to hold off. But again, I mean, you can tell there's a large swath of the upper plains and the parts of, we'll say, Wisconsin under at least winter storm watches. That's the blue. All the pink and all the purple you see out towards the west, those are winter weather advisories as well as winter storm warnings. So for that second system, again, not for tonight, but for Tuesday and Wednesday, that does have the potential to bring in some higher snowfall totals. favoring northern and central Wisconsin, but as I zoom in, we're getting very close in some of our northern communities, again, north of Milwaukee in our immediate viewing area. You can see that winter storm watch includes Manitowoc, it includes Oshkosh, so it is very close. Now, we have to watch the storm track of that second system very closely because as of some of the later model runs, it is starting to drift southward a little bit. That would mean some of the heavier snow that's warranting the winter storm watch to maybe move into some of our communities north of Milwaukee. Right now, it's looking like one of those setups where it is snow up towards the north, maybe Interstate 94 or just north of that to Fond du Lac and Sheboygan, and then primarily a window of rain, but also potentially icy conditions down towards the south. So it is something I think we need to watch very closely, and especially the next 24 hours. You know, we don't really get a break in between these two systems. So let me put it into perspective for you. We're going to see this first quick batch of snow overnight tonight after about 10 or 11 p.m. It's pretty much gone as we are commuting tomorrow morning, up to an inch of snowfall. Not a huge deal, though we could still see some slippery spots tomorrow morning. Now, once we get closer to tomorrow evening then, so daytime hours is our break, we see that second storm system rolling in. It will likely start off as a little bit of snow, but temperatures will be climbing through the 30s. So then it will eventually change over to some rain starting down towards the south, but inching its way northward throughout your Tuesday night hours. Then on the backside of this storm, early Wednesday, we're going to start to see the wind shifting to the northwest. That's going to pull in colder air, switch it all back over to snow. So even the spots late Tuesday night that see, a bit of rain maybe washes things out a little bit. Number one, it will eventually refreeze, and number two, we'll have a layer of snow on top of that for Wednesday morning. So I think the biggest impacts really will be evening commute Tuesday for some of the back and forth, and then Wednesday morning for some of the really slippery conditions and the continuation of that falling snow. This system could linger then into about midday Wednesday. So the second half of Wednesday will be just fine, but temperatures will be in the process of dropping then throughout the second half of Wednesday. It really is one of those systems where we're going to get a little bit of everything. We dry out Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday bring in another chance for a little bit of snow. And then once we get through, I really should say this second system also, we're going to feel quite a temperature drop. You'll notice both Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to climb above freezing into the 30s in Milwaukee, maybe not quite that high up north, which is why snow is more likely up north. And then Thursday and Friday, we're dropping back down to teens essentially. We may start the weekend in the single digits and barely climb above that for Sunday. Saturday morning and Sunday morning's low temperatures will likely be below zero, and still with a bit of a breeze, we could actually be approaching negative teens and even about 20 below wind chills both of those mornings too. So a very wintry week ahead. We'll worry about the cold as it gets a little bit closer, but I think for now, Tuesday and Wednesday are days, Ted, where we just need to be weather aware, especially I think Wednesday morning is going to be pretty messy.
What I'm hearing here is that we started out by saying what a lousy day today is.
Yeah.
And by Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the cold weekend, we're going to be nostalgic for the beautiful weather we had on Monday.
Yes, we're going to call this the calm.
Yeah, with this, so shut up, Ted. Enjoy what we got here. Stop your belly aching.
It does look like next week we start to warm a little bit, but that feels very far.
But we're in for an interesting week for the weather experts down the hall. Stephanie, we appreciate it. Next year, let's all do the Santa Rampage together.
It looks really fun, Ted. I do think I would like to join in.
I know, but Saturday was swim day in your house.
It was swim day.
All right, well, I hope that went well.
I'll plan accordingly next year.
Stephanie Berichello, thank you so much.
Yep.
Always giving us the weather we need with the good perspective, too. Real quickly, I don't know what Sean Duffy is talking about, but I'm curious because it's about travel. So let's give a quick listen. Make travel family friendly again. He was there. He was also there along with
just eat it up. So
Homeland.
Give a kid high quality meat. They're going to love it with a little bit of fruit. That's easy.
He's also there with Health and Human
got
Services Secretary RFK Jr.
Is there an update on the 2024 Department of Transportation proposal to make it to ban airlines from charging families from sitting together?
I don't have an update. I know that was under review at DOT. And again, I find it's an issue I'm sensitive to. I want families to be able to sit together. A lot of feedback I get is it's already happening, but that rule is under review, so no update.
Dave Shepardson from Reuters. You talked about, like the salty pretzels and the calorie-laden cookies. Is there anything you can do from a regulatory standpoint to force the airlines to do more, or is this just more trying to jawbone the airlines and the airports into voluntarily doing that?
I'm not a big government guy. So I'm not fining anyone if they wear their pajamas on the airplane, right? That's not what we're doing. We're asking people to, again, maybe dress a little better. And I've asked airplanes to give some better options. It's all in the airline's purview, how they're going to respond to this. And I think they have some ideas of what they're thinking to improve the experience.
Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy. Interesting question that he was asked about the penalty for airlines for having all family members sit together. He said, I'm all for it. You'd think he might be. He's the father of 9, so obviously you could see how he would want if he does travel with bringing 9 people. I mean, we had 8 kids in our family and 2 parents. We all traveled by minivan, never on an airplane together. But you could see how a big family like his would want to stick together. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, if you're thinking of going to a holiday party, if you're going to your bosses for dinner over the holiday, if there's a function in your company, what are the rules? What are the manners? What's the etiquette? We are bringing back Callista Gould, who was with us on the eve of Thanksgiving, to talk about holiday party manners. We're going to do that after a very quick break. You're watching the Wisconsin Live Desk on a Monday.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
And welcome back, everybody. 303, 25 degrees on a cloudy Monday, cool and a little breezy. And as we just heard from Stephanie Barrichello, probably going to be the best day of the week weather-wise, because we got snow coming and a traffic situation tomorrow evening into Wednesday morning going to be rough with the snow, and then temperatures dip. So everything's a matter of perspective, right? Check today as the good day of the week. Okay. If you were with us the day before Thanksgiving, we had a lovely chat with Callista Gould, who is the founder of the get this right, Culture and let's bring her in. Manners and Culture Institute. Did I get that right?
Culture and Manners
Culture,
Institute.
C before M. Culture and Manners Institute. You are the founder of that. And I came up with a nickname for you last time, the Maven of Manners. I'm going to add the expert of etiquette and the professor of politeness. Yeah, all three. Pick whichever one you like. You've earned them all. She's the author, I'll hold it up this time, of the Exceptional Professional, which is really a must-read for all adults, whether you're in the working world or not, because manners count, and manners count more, I think, now in these troubled, fractured times than ever before. Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
I had a great Thanksgiving. How was yours?
Perfect, because I followed all your etiquette rules. I was on time. I brought a house gift, and actually we had it here, but then we had it somewhere else after on Friday. So my manners were good. And we're going to talk about manners now because we are in the holiday Christmas season, and a lot of these are going to be work-related. So let's start with that topic. Work parties. We all have them. And they actually made a movie, a pretty raucous movie a couple of years ago, and I can't remember the name of it, starring Jason Bateman, but about all the crazy things that can happen at a Christmas party. The name will come to me in a second. We don't want any of those things to happen. It's not good for your career for too much debauchery. What's the rule for having fun at your Christmas party, but also being professional?
Careers, well, first of all, thanks for having me back, Ted. I appreciate it. Holiday parties are an opportunity. They're still work, but they're an opportunity to be social. So it's a time to build rapport, cement relationships, and say, put a face to the email address. And it's a time to socialize, but you don't want to get a little bit too crazy because sometimes careers are made and broken at the office holiday party.
That's not exaggeration either. That is, I mean, I can tell you I've been in the news business for a while here, and I've seen my share of Christmas parties, and I have seen people overindulge, and their career was never quite the same. So this is not a hypothetical of which you speak. This can really happen. But these are also where the company says, have a glass of wine, have a brandy old fashioned, have a beer. Where do you don't want to necessarily be a teetotaler if you're not. You want to enjoy the party. You want to lighten up. You want to get to know your colleagues in a different way. Right. Where's that line of imbibing, maybe having one, maybe having two, and then saying, thank you, I enjoyed being here?
You just have to keep a clear head. So whatever that means, maybe it's one drink, maybe it's two drinks for people. I wouldn't go beyond two drinks though, but you want to keep a clear head. And, sometimes people will take one sip too many and they will say the wrong thing to the wrong person. And that's where you get into trouble.
That's where careers can really go south at sometimes.
Right. Ted, I came from the music business, and I'll tell you what, I was at a party once where one of my work colleagues found a golf cart in the parking lot of the Marriott Resort and took it inside these automatic sliding glass doors. He found our conference room, smashed into the buffet table, and knocked the food everywhere.
How'd the rest of his career go?
$10,000 in damage.
Yeah. I feel compelled to tell you that when I was 17 years old at my sister's wedding, I took a golf cart on a joyride. No damage. I was in the back of a squad car for a while until being saved by another family member, but that's a story for another time. I was 17. I had youthful exuberance on my side as an excuse. This guy did not. So, yeah, stay away from
that's why we tell these stories, because these really good stories come out.
They really do happen. Let's talk about the parties, though, because holidays, there's such a funny time for emotions. Some people absolutely love them. Some people are triggered by them. They are reminded of a divorce that happened or a death that happened during the holidays or being estranged from family. What are the manners when you're trying to invite someone over, but you don't know everything about them? How do you offer, hey, come on over, let's celebrate the holidays together, without getting too personal or without, stepping in line, because there's a religion to consider. There's how much people look at the holiday as a religious matter as opposed to a social matter. What's the overall rule on inviting people over during the holidays, or is there one cut and dry one?
So you're talking about having like an informal gathering at your home.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of different ways you can send an invite. You can have a verbal invite. You can have, if it's casual, you can have an email, or you can actually send an invite through the mail. But you want to set a time limit. It's going to go from, I don't know, 6 to 8 or 6 to 10, something like that. Open house is kind of a nice way to do it if you want to extend the hours and make it a little bit longer. But you basically want to feed people and have beverages and other. I mean, if you're going to somebody's house and they're serving beverages, the polite thing to ask is, not. I'd like a Bombay Sapphire Martini with blue cheese stuffed olives, and have the vermouth blow the martini a kiss.
Right.
Instead you would say, "What are you serving?"
Right. You're not in a James Bond movie, for crying out
loud.
loud. Yeah,
They
you're
may
not
not
going
have your Bombay Sapphire Martini with the blue cheese stuffed olives.
Yeah.
So you say, "What are you serving?"
Yeah, we have white wine, red wine, and Leinenkugels. Take your pick, or soft drink.
Right. So you just want to make it comfortable and casual for people, and you don't want to get too personal if you don't know the person very well. You ask, take an interest in a person when you're having a conversation. So, what are your interests? What are your holiday traditions? What are, things like that.
I do a thing. I have a party every year, and it's a small group. It's just sort of my inner circle of friends. But I play this game where I say, I'm going to feed you, and I'll have wine and beer and whatever, and that you're all, walking home. And I say, you have the price of admission. I don't want a gift. Please don't bring anything. You have to bring a question. And we throw questions into a hat. And sometimes they can be very personal. Do you believe in God? Do you, when you play a game like that, and again, this is kind of with people I know and like,
right.
But let's say I didn't. Let's say it was opening more to work colleagues. Is a game like that still appropriate when you say, and they're nothing raunchy, they're just questions like, describe your favorite holiday, or what's your memory, or, if you didn't celebrate Christmas this time of year, what would you do? They're just sort of thoughtful conversation starters. Is that acceptable, or does that make people uneasy, and should I stop doing that?
No, I think it's okay as long as the person can say, next question. So if one question seems awkward for a person, if they can choose another question.
Gotcha. The last time we talked, I talked about people who stayed too long, and you're kind enough to send me a copy again of The Exceptional Professional, which is sort of the Bible of manners here. And you have one passage called The Things That Wouldn't Leave. It would be great if you could just say, get out. What can you do, though? Talk about the 5-step process that involves tough loves. I'm not going to read it because you wrote it, so you tell us about the 5 steps of tough love.
Okay, we've all been in this situation before, and it's when you have a few little stragglers that you can't get to go home. And in a way, it's a high compliment. They're having a good time at your house. They don't want to leave. So what do? Step 1, shut down the food and beverage service. Stop giving them drinks. Start putting the food away. Start cleaning up.
Okay.
Do not accept an offer to help you clean up.
Well, yeah,
So
you mentioned that in the book. Why not?
because they'll stay longer.
Okay.
That's their avenue to stay longer.
They feel like they've bought more time. I cleared the dishes and dried. Let's sit down and have another drink.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. All right.
Step 2, remain standing and start moving towards the door. Do not let them stay seated on those comfy couches. Make it a little bit awkward, so remain standing. Step 3 is when you start doing the verbal clues. Oh, yeah, I really got to get up early in the morning. You start, yeah, time to get up, and I've got to get up in the morning. So, and if they're still not moving, then step 4, that's when you go with the direct route. It's really time for you to go. We've got to get up in the morning. Time for you to go home. It was nice of you to come. We were glad to have you here, but now it's time to shut down the party.
And that's almost the nuclear bomb of this whole thing, right?
It is.
You want to make that the last resort,
option.
But shame on them if they haven't gotten clues 1, 2, and 3 yet, right?
Right. And I'll tell you what, I've been in that situation before.
Yeah.
And it's awkward, but you do what you have to do.
And
now this step 5.
Number 5, I love this one. Go ahead.
Step 5 is to expunge these people from any further invite lists, so you don't have to deal with this
Stayed
problem
too long
again.
in 24, not coming back in 25. I love that. I love that. Finally, let's talk presents. Times are tight. Times are always going to be tight, especially around the holidays. I have said to coworkers, we used to go back and forth, I just said, you know what, I'm good. We don't need to exchange. And I felt okay with that, you know, because where does this gift buying end? I want to shower the people close to me with gifts, but I can't do everybody, and no one can do everybody. What's your final question for you? What's the rule of giving and getting gifts?
Now that I'm older and my siblings are all older, we kind of have everything that we need.
Right.
And so with siblings, I usually buy little kid gifts for the children, the nieces and the grandnieces and nephews. And for work colleagues, if it's somebody you're very close to and you're the gift giving exchange type, but you have to be careful, because if, you know, say I've got a younger person that I work with, well, they probably have a whole family to buy gifts for. And so whenever you give a gift, the other person feels obligated to give back. So I feel like with work colleagues, I get the people that report to me little gifts, and then I write notes to other people. I send out a lot of Christmas cards and write notes and tell people I appreciate them. But,
and personalize them if
you
can. Yeah.
Yeah. The worst thing I think is the office gift, or the boss's shakedown gift.
Mm-hmm.
That's when one person goes around and collects $20 from everybody and says, I'm going to buy a gift. And then they basically give it to the boss and take credit for the whole thing.
Yeah, right. Or they get something that did not equal, you know, $800 or whatever. It's like, wait.
Wow, did that candle cost $200? Really?
Exactly. Anything finally on the holidays, Callista Gould, that I'm going to let you go here, but any final thought on holiday etiquette? Because we're not going to talk again before Christmas.
Send thank you notes. And actually, I grabbed a couple of just really simple thank you notes you could get at an office supply store or at Walgreens or something like that. Those are just fold over notes. Write thank you notes for gifts that you've received, for gestures that people have done for you, that have helped you with a project or something, and just did something thoughtful for you. Send a thank you note.
To let our viewers know that you practice what you preach, in the book here was a thank you note that you wrote for appearing on the show last time, and I have sent you a thank you note for sending me a copy of your book. So we're good. We're following our own advice here. Excellent.
We're good.
Let's talk again in the new year, because there's so many topics we can cover when it comes to manners and etiquette. And I think it's a lost art. And I think it needs to come back. And I'm glad that you are the one leading the charge, because you have impeccable manners and you're always punctual, which I like in the news business.
Thank you, Ted. I appreciate it.
Excellent.
Enjoy your Christmas, your holidays, and have a happy New Year.
You as well. Callista Gould from the founder of the, come on, give it to me again.
Culture and
Manners
Institute.
Institute in Fond du Lac. All right. Thank you so much. Enjoy your holidays. Cheers. All right. That's always fun talking to Callista, who is so good at that and has great advice. And again, her book is every situation you might need to know, from going to dinner with your boss to how to handle a job interview to how to behave in the office. And, you know, it's really an interesting read. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll check in with producer Delaney Reed. We haven't talked to her in a while, so we'll find out what's going on with you. Yeah, look at that. I'm looking at the monitor. She looks very nervous, and she should be, because I'm going to have some very interesting questions for her. I'm kidding. You're going to be fine. All right, we're going to be right back in a second. It's 3:18.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back, everybody. Ted Perry with you on the Wisconsin Live Desk on this Monday, 3/21, 25 degrees. One of the things we like to do here is we like to take you around the country, show you interesting pictures that are happening. And here's one. This is out of DeLand, Florida, which is between Daytona Beach and Orlando, just off Highway Interstate 4 there. This is a single-engine plane that made an emergency landing on a highway, not a highway, a busy roadway. I shouldn't actually call it a highway. 2 people aboard the plane were injured. We know that much. Single-engine Cessna plane. This is around 2 o'clock their time, so about 1 o'clock our time, so about an hour and or about 2.5 hours ago. This is, if you know the area of DeLand, this is Jacobs Road, Plymouth. This is Highway 92. It's closed for several more hours. Again, 2 people on board that plane injured. We don't know what the situation was that made it crash land, but that is the story right there out of DeLand, Florida. If we learn more in the next 8 minutes, I'm surely going to pass it along to you. I hope you're having a good Monday. If you missed earlier, Stephanie Barkello giving us an update on the weather. And as it turns out today, which is 25 degrees, and I don't want to say dismal, that's too strong of a word, but blah, meh kind of a day. No sun, which always kind of stinks. Sun gets us through a lot. Saturday was a cold day, but it was sunny, so it was great to be outside. What I'm getting at is today, for as lousy as it is, may turn out to be the blue ribbon day of the week when it comes to weather-wise, because we got a system coming in tomorrow afternoon into the evening into Wednesday morning that's going to make for a couple of rough commutes both Tuesday evening and Wednesday morning, so look out for that. And then we're going to get cold again down into the single digits. So up and down, snow and cold, snow and cold. Stop me if you've heard this before. Delaney Reed is our producer. And how are you, Delaney? What's going on today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good weekend?
Yeah, a lot of fun. I also did the Santa cycle.
You did? Where are your pictures? Why?
I can put them up on Tag Board.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do that. Who did you do it with?
With Haley, and then Cale and his wife, Trisha, and Carrie was there.
Carrie Doctor?
Carrie Doctor did it too, yeah.
I wish
We saw your post after. We were like, where was Ted?
Oh my. Okay, well we don't want that. Swap it out there. You were talking Golden Globes with Haley here. I want to say how everybody looked. And am I doing something wrong here, or you got it for us?
No, I'll swap it out.
Okay,
I just wasn't logged in.
We'll put you into the producer box right there. Okay, there's Carrie Doctor. Carrie Doctor, who's in charge of all of our internet, from FOX6 Now to Fox Local, former producer of mine, and he wanted to do anything to get away from me, so he went and he kind of started the digital part of FOX6. And Carrie recently inducted into the Silver Circle, which is an honor for people who have been in this business 25 years or more. He's going to be inducted on February 1st, and we are looking forward to honoring him on that. Okay, that was fun. Let's see more. There's the group. Tell us who we got from left to right there.
So starting on the left, that's Carrie's cousin.
Okay.
Then Cale's wife.
Okay.
Cale. Then I'm there in the middle.
Yes, you are.
Carrie. Then I think that's Haley. And then Trisha's on the other end.
Okay. So a lot of newbies. Is this your first time doing it?
This is the first time I've done it, yeah.
So fun, right?
It was a ton of fun.
Got any more pictures? What else you got for us?
Oh, Haley just has
Haley.
a single one. And then there's
was
a couple
Haley doing
videos.
a story? Why does she have the FOX6 microphone there?
She did do some live shots in the 8 a.m.
In the 8 a.m. hour, okay. And where did you guys start from? Oh, and here's the video. This is what it's like. I should have shown you some of my video too. It's crazy, right? Okay, this is Brady Street. This is going east on Brady Street, am I right?
Yeah.
And you got all sorts of bikes. You got road bugs. You got somebody's riding a fat tire bike right there. And it's just Santas galore. It's the craziest thing. This is a fundraiser, by the way, for the Wisconsin Bike Federation, which deals with legislation and both on the state level and in local communities about improving bike safety, improving bike access, bike lanes, you name it. Anything that's pro-bike, the Wisconsin Bicycle Federation does a great job. And it's just so much fun. And people are like, what is even happening? You wouldn't think there were that many Santa suits around. And I've just sort of done a hodgepodge of mine. I have those same striped tights, by the way, because I never know what I'm going to wear. But it is, what made you want to do it? I'm going to bring up the producer box here. I'm trying to talk to you now that we've seen it all. Oh, tag board gets rid of it, and there you are. What made you decide to do it?
Carrie was talking about how fun
Okay.
it was, so then Haley and I decided to sign up.
Oh, I wish I knew that you guys were doing it. I did it with Stephanie, my girlfriend, and we started on the east side and then rode down. Did you make it to Lakefront?
Yeah, we made it to Lakefront.
How did we miss each other? Oh, I know why. Because there were only 2,000 other Santas there. What were you, Mrs. Santa Claus? What did you go as?
Yeah, I went as a Santa, so like Mrs. Claus.
Okay, yeah. And it's fun because sometimes you see people dressed up as Krampus. A lot of Buddy the Elves from the movie Buddy, our elf. Some years you see dreidels, people celebrating Hanukkah by dressing as a giant dreidel, which I love. A couple people dress up as the Lord and Savior, which is tricky to do on a bicycle. You got the robe and all that. But it's just so interesting to me that it's such a Milwaukee thing. And I know it's done in Madison too, and other cities do it. But it's just you know what? We live in the cold. We're going to be out in the cold. Let's embrace it. Let's ride together and have some fun. What was your favorite part about it?
I don't know. I think the whole thing was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought we had good weather. I know it was cold, but I was expecting worse. So I'm glad it wasn't that bad.
I've done it in a cold rain. I've done it in 40 degrees. I've done it in sub-freezing temperatures. I think it was really quite perfect because you have so many layers on, so you want to build up a little bit of warmth, but you don't want to be overly hot here. So I usually do it with a group of people, 2 of whom were in Europe at the time, so the other 2 said, we're going to take a pass this year. But again, Stephanie, my girlfriend, always wanted to do it, and so she dressed up like Ralphie from Christmas Story, and we had a great time doing that. So let's all make sure to meet up next year and do it again.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again next year.
That would be super fun. And maybe since Carrie's there, we'll stream it live the whole time too. That would be a fun thing to do.
That would be
Take
fun.
the Wisconsin Live Desk on the road. So
right.
All right, Delaney, good to see you. Thank you for your guidance on this day. How much time do we got left here to go? 1 minute. Let me take you around. Let us show you the weather. I always like checking in on the White House and Washington, D.C. on this day. We heard from President Trump in the last hour, and we got a lot going on today in the national news. We heard from Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy. We might hear from him in later newscasts, but we hope you join us today on Fox 6 News at 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. On this Victory Monday, Packers over the Bears yesterday at Lambeau Field. That's always good. They're going to be playing again here, not this next Sunday because the Packers go to Denver this Sunday, but then Saturday night, not on a Sunday, but Saturday the 20th. Big game at Soldier Field in Chicago. You can see that one right here on Fox 6. We're signing off for now. The Wisconsin Live Desk is back tomorrow. We hope you have a great day. Stay warm, stay dry.
Purpose God has for you in life and where you're heading, you're lost. And that may be, of all the things that Charlie said, one of the most profound, straightforward, simple things I've ever heard. And that should be our mission in our schools with our State Board of Education, with our Commissioner of Education.
Very good. All right, we'll take a few questions.